Technology Center on May 2nd of this year, and Sylvester joins us to talk about his work and passion for STEM. And now it is time for some news that you can use.
News you can use
right now on Wake Up with Word.
The report reads, I call out racism not just when I'm running for president. Cory Booker had some serious words in a recent interview. And he says, I call out racism not just when I'm running for president. I want those candidates who are in the race, who are calling out that racism when they speak to black audiences, to go to white churches and call it out. Not when you're speaking to black audiences or a black interview. I want you to go on CNN or C-SPAN or go to the communities in Iowa and talk, because I do. And we've said before, the stakes have been raised. People have been challenged to address the unique experiences and needs and concerns of the African-American community in the political realm, in the presidential politics field, in a way that I've never seen before. Now, I wasn't old enough to see President Johnson when he talked about the Voting Rights Act, and he talked about those separate communities, right, and separate forms of justice, and which was arguably one of the most candid presidential addresses on the topic of race ever. You know, far more accurate than anything that Lincoln's been talking about, in my personal and professional opinion. But in my lifetime, you know, Obama had something he talked about his grandmother saying racist things when he came to Philly and gave that a more perfect union address and speech about race. But this climate, I should say, is challenging people. Because Obama was able to actually avoid that conversation. Remember, not black enough, too black, and all that. And he was far more likely to be called to the carpet in terms of his association with Jeremiah Wright, or his affinity or rejection of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, than he was to really be forced and, you know, held to task by the African-American community in terms of, like, what are you going to do for us, what policy. So this is an interesting time that we live in. In an interview with The Root, presidential candidate Cory Booker, he told us that he's been about that life, and few senators had devoted more time to finding solutions to criminal justice issues and other subjects affecting the black community disproportionately. He also talked about the Rockefeller drug laws and how he helped to revise and change the disproportionate degree to which black people were sentenced. And he said these changes that he fought so diligently for, he said that African Americans were affected by this, not, you know, the whole distribution between disparities between crack cocaine sentencing and powder cocaine sentencing, and the whole Rockefeller drug laws. He said that this disproportionately affected African Americans upwards of 90%. So he was saying, I'm doing policy that impacts African Americans, you know, significantly, and you got other people just campaigning about it. As for criticism that Booker is running a race-neutral campaign, Booker responded by saying, there has been nobody in the United States of America in the Senate that's talked about racial bias in our criminal justice system. Speeches on the Senate floor calling out in my own private caucus meetings issues of racial bias. He also pushed back against criticisms, lamenting his refusal to call Donald Trump racist during a February interview with The Root. Booker also outlined why black people should vote for him, and he also said more specifically how he's centering black women. And he was asked about the racism and double standards elected officials like U.S. Rep. Ilhan Omar faced and is now receiving, and he talked about the needs for better leadership. I mean, it's an improvement. That's all I can say. It's definitely an improvement. So, you know, keep up the good work. All the people that are pressuring these politicians. Not necessarily the politicians, just know that the pressure is on, and you will have to respond in kind. In other news.
In some other news, and speaking about Ilhan Omar, Democratic Rep. Ilhan Omar's fellow freshman lawmakers are coming to the Minnesota Congresswoman's defense just yesterday, after remarks she made referencing 9/11 as, quote, some people did something, were criticized in a New York Post cover that featured the Twin Towers. There's definitely more to the story. Speaking at an event last month for the Council on American Islamic Relations, Omar said that CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. The New York Post published Thursday's tabloid with a quote from Omar, who is one of 2 Muslim women in Congress, and an image of the Twin Towers engulfed in flames from September 11th of 2001. Under the picture is the headline, quote, here's your something.
What?
Democratic Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York slammed the New York Post cover as horrifying and hateful. Ocasio-Cortez pointed to Omar's co-sponsorship of a bill that would reauthorize the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund. Quote, "She's done more for 9/11 families in the GOP who won't even support health care for first responders, yet are happy to weaponize her faith," Ocasio-Cortez said on Twitter. Democratic Rep. Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts accused the Post of, quote, "manipulating Omar's remarks," and said that her full comments clearly speak to Islamophobia in America post 9/11. "Manipulating her remarks is defaming and dangerous for her and her family," Pressley said on Twitter. "Stop with this recklessness." She blamed Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Post, writing, "This is on you. Stoking hate, fear, and division, putting real lives at risk. Shame on you." The New York Post now knows exactly what it's doing, taking quotes out of context and evoking painful imagery to spread hate and endangering the life of Rep. Omar. "Shame on them and shame on Rupert Murdoch," said Rep. Rashida Tlaib, Michigan Democrat, and the other Muslim woman on Congress. She had said that on Twitter as well. CNN has reached out to Murdoch's corporation, News Corp, and the New York Post for comment. But, I mean, we just reported earlier this week that she had, someone was threatening her life.
Yeah.
And there's been
And they're up in the ante.
Up in the ante. There was another I think poster of her when they were using Islamophobic imagery on an ad campaign thing at another Republican meeting that they had. This woman is under attack.
Oh, she's going to be the center of a lot of campaigns come 2020. Like I said, all these conservatives that want to stoke that kind of fear, I wouldn't be surprised if there's plenty more instances of people trying to connect her and her faith and weaponize it in a way to try to secure a racist, a nationalist base. And I hope that there's a opportunity for some legal ramifications, like some pushback, because you can't just promote these kind of images and this kind of climate, and then when something happens, raise your hand and say, "I don't know why this happened."
Right.
Just to go to work and be on your way to work and see that image. It's a New York Post. If you're in New York, in that area, where
it's
it
going to
occurred,
trigger you,
and you're just walking by on a newsstand, you're seeing all these images, it's just totally inappropriate.
Yeah, it
and
really
beyond
is.
the political pale.
Yeah, and I think that it's supremely upsetting, and I think the reason that it bothers me a lot more too, and this is not to separate people out even more, but Ilhan Omar, she's African, she's Sudanese, right? So she looks like us, and so what I do not want to see is that we have beautiful women of color walking around in their hijabs, or just living their regular day life, and they were not even the people who did this. They were not, everybody's just like, oh, well, all Muslim people are exactly the same. Just like you have different forms of Christianity, you got different forms of, you know what I mean? And so it bothers me to my core, and I do not want to see people who look like me, look like us, look like the people who listen to this station, be walking out and living their everyday life, and then you have people who are enacting hateful, horrible things onto these people. I just,
No, it's sickening to even think about it. And the fact that this is a major media outlet in New York City. It's not, it isn't just like some pamphlet from some alt-right super PAC trying to run some no-name candidate and gin up some hate to get some votes. This is a long-standing publication that has a history of, some of the, well, that's a different story for a different day. In other news, this is a sad story about a high school principal who died after going to the hospital to donate bone marrow to try to save the life of a 14-year-old in France. Derek Nelson, principal of Westfield High School in New Jersey, died unexpectedly Sunday night, according to school officials. His fiancée, Sharonda Breaker, said that Nelson suffered complications after his bone marrow donation. The school's newspaper reported in February that Nelson decided to donate his bone marrow to a boy in France after being contacted by Be the Match, an organization that does National Bone Marrow Donor Program, told him that his blood might be a match. If it's just a little bit of pain for a little bit of time, that can give someone years of joy, it's all worth it, Nelson told the paper back then. In a statement to CNN, Breaker said Nelson, quote, was a tremendous father to our beloved daughter Morgan and best companion and life partner I could ever ask for. He loved his family almost beyond belief. He was a man who carried himself with dignity, courage, and compassion, she continued. His last kind and generous act on the earth in giving so someone else might live is a true testament to who he was and how he should always be remembered. We will always love him. We hold him and his family in our hearts, and we grieve this loss together. And I know you are joining me in granting his family the privacy that they requested. Read the superintendent of schools. He was 44. He served in the U.S. Army Reserve for more than 20 years. And according to some people surrounding the estate, it says he joined Westfield Public High School in 2010 as the assistant principal of Roosevelt Intermediate School. He later was assistant principal and principal of Westfield High, which has more than 1,800 students. People praise Nelson as a committed educator, a role model, with a strong moral compass. I just want to make sure I read all that, just dedicating, enough time to somebody who was so giving and so courageous. It's just really an unfortunate set of events that even in his desire to save lives, he lost his own. So rest in peace to that good brother.
Yes, definitely, definitely. In some other news, and this to me is a good story. You guys might get sick of me talking about all these, well, anyway, never mind. But
they'll be all right.
I have to report it. I got it because it just makes me so happy. Georgia lawmakers are allocating $1.5 million for menstrual products for low-income women and girls throughout the state. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports the unprecedented expense would be drawn from the state's $27.5 billion 2020 budget. The program, set to begin July 1st, will reportedly dispense $1 million to the Georgia Department of Education and $500,000 to county health departments directly. The money will assist families and children whose lack of access to menstrual products affect their work and education. The organizations are still determining the best practices to distribute the money to those in need. The Hill reports House Speaker pro tempore Jan Jones, State Rep Kim Schofield, and other Democrats negotiated the move after failing to convince fellow conservative lawmakers to remove the 4% sales tax on feminine products in the 2 previous sessions. Okay, sorry, I'm elated that recognition is going to be given to the kids that need it most, said Schofield. This is a gap that the state has graciously decided to fill. The menstrual portion is not yet a recurring budget, but Jones and Schofield are confident that the disbursement will be adopted for years to come. While they are pleased with the resolution, the fight to eliminate the sales tax on feminine products will continue. It is estimated that women and girls in the state spend $63 on menstrual products annually. That's actually a low number to me. That seems low. But the Georgia Department of Audit and Accounts reported the state's revenue would lower by $9 million if the tax is abolished by 2020. Yes, let's address this basic issue for students so they can have what they need so it doesn't disrupt learning, said Schofield. But for adults, we need to take the tax off, just plain and simple. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. People don't realize the fact that, we're not living in a third world country, right? But there are still plenty of women and young women, young girls who cannot afford to buy menstrual products, and
incarcerated women too, right?
Right. So they don't have the access as well. They get a small stipend of menstrual products, and once they're out, they're out. They're not provided with more. And so me personally, I will keep saying things like this, but I think that if men had to deal with this, you wouldn't even be paying for it.
It wouldn't be no dealing with it.
Right.
If men had to deal with it, it'd be the center and the focus. You'd go down to the town square. Please, go.
Baskets.
Go to the free machine. Matter of fact, we have a delivery service.
Right.
Just press this discreet button. Someone will meet you outside of the restroom. If forget like Uber Eats and all that delivery service, man, they would have been delivering like horse and carriage and buggies back in the day. Ride through town like the Watermelon Man, just making announcements. Anybody need me? I'm right outside. Any time of the month, I'm here to provide. Because we men. Oh, yeah, it's definitely it's a quadruple standard. I'm Aaron Smith, the rapping professor. She is Queen Kwesa, super producer, trying to help to make things right in the world where we got to, address the wrong head on. And you are waking up with word, y'all.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show.
Hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicky Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Exclusively on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
This vignette is brought to you by Temple University.
Temple's Pan-African Studies Community Education Program, or PASEP, was founded in 1975 by the late Annie D. Hyman, a Temple University graduate and North Philadelphia community activist who sought to bring the university to the community. For almost 40 years, PASEP volunteers from the community give back to others what was given to them in knowledge, skill, inspiration, and example. Community is no better exemplified than in the PASEP philosophy. Courses include how to own real estate, African American studies, academic enrichment, rites of passage for young adults, economics, computer literacy, meditation, recovery, how to publish your own book, and workforce development skills. Classes are held at 1509 Cecil B. Moore Avenue in the Entertainment and Community Education Building on Temple's main campus. For more information or registration, please visit PASCEP at temple.edu or call 215-204-1993.
This vignette has been brought to you by Temple University.
We filmed Pennsylvania adoptive families and asked them why more people need to become foster or adoptive parents.
As a society, we have a responsibility to make sure every kid gets from being a kid to being a responsible adult.
I would encourage anybody to do it. You get so much more out of it than you expect.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
WordRadio.com.
RG Electrical Inspections provides electrical inspections for realtors, licensed electricians, and homeowners. RG is a certified plans examiner and licensed underwriter providing assistance for PICO outages. RG is also listed on PICO's website. RG Electrical Inspections is a licensed and insured underwriter serving Philadelphia and surrounding areas. Call if you have plans to review today, 267-902-1655.
Did you know that smoking a hookah for 1 hour is equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes? Or that a single black, Dutch, or Swisher cigarillo has 3 times as much tobacco as a cigarette? Even the leaf wrap is full of tobacco and harmful to your health. Whether it's from a hookah, cigar, cigarillo, or cigarette, where there's smoke, there's danger. To learn more and for help quitting today, visit smokefreephilly.org/danger.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by La Quinta by Wyndham. Heavy style 95 southbound from Bridgetown through Girard. Added jam northbound 95 through the city. Still in pretty good shape. Westbound Vine delays 8th out through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound later on south and you're jamming the Boulevard to Belmont eastbound. Busy east of the Boulevard through Spring Garden. PA Turnpike, Blue Road 476. Still not too bad this morning. 422 eastbound delays Trooper through 23. 42 northbound, 55 to 295. A bit slow. 55 north jamming from Deptford into 42. La Quinta by Wyndham. Spacious rooms, free high-speed Wi-Fi, and a delicious bright side breakfast. Everything you need to more than succeed tonight at La Quinta. Tomorrow you triumph. Brooke Direct at LQ.com. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Let's go!
You're waking up with Word.
Waking up with Word, y'all! With the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith.
Get your weight up.
And then we'll have a conversation
On Word Radio.
Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. If you don't have that app, you know where to go. Download an app like you know. Who, me? I am the host of the show, Aaron Smith, the rapping professor, Queen Coesa, nobody better, super producer. What do you, okay. It is, put some respect on her name, and it's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful time in the world, and you are breathing and living and enjoying the show, and we love you for it. We're getting into some news you could use, but I definitely want to take this time, since we have, I think, 4 interviews today, to open up these phone lines as we continue to read this news. So open up the phone lines. Hear that gate rolling back? I don't know why you roll a gate for phone lines, but it just sounds like the effective fit. 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. 8065. I know that's some first-time callers getting ready. I said, let me take my time. Oh, toll-free, 1-866-361-0900. Social media. You can watch us on Word TV. Word TV, move that out the way. Sorry. Word TV, we're on there live. Facebook at onWURD, or just type WRD 900. You can listen on the app 900 AM, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at onWURD. I just saw the rhyme there. I didn't want to forsake the rhyme. Call me now. Listen to this, y'all. They done got somebody with them church fires. Police identified a suspect. I mean, they're just a suspect at this time in the burnings of 3 black churches in a South Louisiana parish last month. A 21-year-old Holden Matthews, the son of a local deputy sheriff, has been charged with 3 counts of arson. According to multiple outlets, Matthews is currently in police custody. Federal prosecutors confirmed the arrest Wednesday night. Over a span of 10 days beginning in late March, 3 predominantly black churches in St. Landry Parish, Louisiana, were set ablaze, reduced to ash and ruins. The first church destroyed was St. Mary Baptist Church in Port Bar on March 26. Ooh, let me wait till I finish. Let me wait till I finish. Ooh, let me wait till I finish. A week later, Greater Union Baptist Church burned down, followed by Mount Pleasant Baptist Church on April 4th. No one was injured in these blazes, as the churches were empty at the time of the fires, officials say. It's unclear whether a 4th fire at a predominantly white church in Caddo Parish, about 3 hours away from the site of the other fires, is connected. I don't think so. Maybe, is connected to the string of arsons. Meanwhile, more information is being uncovered about the suspected arsonist, the son of St. Landry Parish Sheriff Deputy Roy Matthews. As the Daily Beast reports, the younger Matthews appeared to follow black metal and paganism, occasionally posting on social media pages dedicated to these interests, while both have connections to neo-Nazism, white supremacy. How does the deputy have connections to neo-Nazism and is still... Am I reading this right? Local deputy sheriff. How can you be the... What kind of rules y'all got? States' rights. What kind of rules are they... They know that, though. The outlet is saying that both of them got connections in white nationalism. Current reporting doesn't yet show much of an online connection between Matthews and these racist far-right movements. Here's what the Daily Beast has uncovered. On a Facebook page that appears to belong to Matthews, he was active, like you said, in black metal and pagan. Although both scenes are predominantly apolitical, both have large neo-Nazi fan bases. Matthew commented on 2 memes about a far-right former neo-Nazi metal musician who had served 15 years in prison for burning churches in Norway and killing a fellow metal musician. A practitioner of pagan beliefs described the arson as having been revenge for Christian actions against pagan Viking graves. Okay. We do recall when Norwegian white supremacist Anders Breivik sent Vikernes a copy of his manifesto. Now, if you don't remember that name, Anders is the man who went on to kill 77 people. You remember the shooting that took place, that mass shooting, and the man that committed these acts also admired this same musician that the Matthews Jr. admires. Matthews commented on 2 memes about the artist. Neither comment was particularly revealing, but they did indicate his familiarity with the fringe figure. One of the pagan pages Matthews was active on specifically forbade racism and Nazi stuff. Oh, of course they're going to say you can't. I'm going to leave it alone. But what I will say, go ahead, please.
Did you see his picture, though?
Oh, no, we got to get that on to the Word team. Come on. Shout out Martin. We got to get his picture up there. I don't know if I feel comfortable with the Ilhan Omar, with New York Post. Maybe we could leave that one out. And we could put this gentleman. What's his name? I'm going to Google him right now. What is his name? Holden Matthews. Holden Matthews. Oh, well, actually, I won't say that. I was going to say there's some serious concern if his father is still working. Mm-hmm. Like, his father need to take paid leave or something. Like, take a break, bro. Because we need to... Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Don't it look like a face of somebody?
Yeah, I don't want to say he did anything. I don't want to say he did anything. I don't want to say he did. I don't want to say he did anything. I'm just going to say Google him. there is something about the black church that stirs up the racist, the white nationalist, and the pagan. I think I'm going to play more gospel music than I ever played today in my life. I think we should have a gospel day. Because a lot of lovers of gospel music in the city. You know, getting their love on, getting their stomp on, getting their praise on, getting their clap on. You know, they say there's something about it that really makes people upset. You might not believe in organized religion. You might not believe in heaven and hell. You might not believe in a devil. You might not believe that there was a man who was God in person. You might not believe in any of that. But one thing you need to understand and believe, which is empirically evidenced and quantifiably provable, is that racists don't like the black church. And anything that my enemy anything that's gonna make the, oh man, what this joy that I have, ooh, the race didn't give it to me, oh, this joy that I have. Get mad. They can't troll that. They can't, that's one thing, they can't troll that word. Oh, we gonna get some, oh, well, wait till after the break, we'll come back with something. DJ K, I can't say it like that today. DJ King of Kings. The K could be DJ King of Kings. If you can give us some uplifting, because I want to make sure I want to play something dedicated, you know, to the father and son team that might need a good word. You know, they might need a cleansing and renewal of the spirit. So, you know, he is up here burning churches in 2019. Now, what would happen if this was hip hop? They would do a whole pathological cultural investigation into black metal and paganism. They just talk about what people were involved in and then keep it moving. No, what's this black metal about? What do you mean paganism? What? Well, guess where you're going to hear it? You're going to hear it here today. Because, you know, I'm about to get to typing. I'm about to get to typing. Because some people, I noticed, in like, what's black metal? What's them team? Black metal, heavy metal, and death metal? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Oh, we got people on the line already at this time. Shouts out. Mary from Mount Airy, thank you for waking up with Word.
Yes, good morning, Word family.
Good morning.
You know, I wanted to let the listening audience know that Donald Trump's sister resigned yesterday. She was a federal judge in the city of Philadelphia. So that's probably with the Eastern District of Pennsylvania on Spruce Street. They need to look at all the cases that she ruled on, because she basically, I guess, entered into a deal because they're going to stop investigating
her tax issues,
her tax evasion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the judges that with the ethics committee is aware, and also the federal investigators and prosecutors are aware, if she committed a crime, because like I said, everything is documented, she definitely should not get a free pass. You know, I'm tired of these selective prosecutions that goes on, especially in this city and the country. You know, we allow people to get away with defrauding us, and we always talking about what's going on with our schools, closing of schools. You have to look at the people that are in charge, these corporations, that they said over 62 corporations did not have to pay any federal taxes, and with some, like Amazon, we paid them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a problem there. They don't care about the schools. They don't care about the children. They don't care about roads and bridges or our military. So people need to wake up that these people are going home, stealing from us, taking what they know that they are required to pay. They're lying about some loopholes. You know, we always talk about the children are in need. But you cannot continue to milk the middle class, the poor people in this country. People need to wake up, because you got politicians in place like Donald Trump. He's only looking out for himself, and I imagine they're going to work out a deal with him to resign and they're going to ignore his back taxes. No, they need to go to jail just like Wesley Snipes went to jail.
And Lauryn Hill. No, thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Donald Trump's sister, I'm just reading the National Post description, Associated Press release. Donald Trump's sister retires as judge and avoids misconduct probe related to alleged tax dodging schemes. I never knew you could retire from your job to beat a case. Shouts out to everybody who's been employed when they got in trouble. No connection. They be like, matter of fact, when your job finds out, you don't got to worry about retiring. You're going to be some firing. No, seriously now. President Donald Trump's sister has retired, and there needs to be significant pushback because there are implications of a possibility for other people to have escape routes. And we don't need that. We don't need this kind of precedent being set without resistance. Sister retired as federal appellate judge in Philadelphia, ending a civil misconduct inquiry launched after a report that she participated in Trump family schemes to dodge taxes. The retirement of Marianne Trump Barry was revealed in an April 1st order signed by a top court official in New York, where the misconduct case was assigned to prevent conflicts of interest for judges who knew Barry. A judicial panel began the review in response to 4 citizen complaints filed in October after the New York Times published a story alleging the president and his siblings evaded inheritance taxes. The April 1st order said Barry's voluntary February 11th retirement ends the review stemming from claims based on the news article alleging that Barry may have committed misconduct relating to tax and financial transactions that occurred mostly in the 1980s and 1990s. I don't even understand the connection. I don't understand the connection. Was she doing it solely as inheritance has to do with the parents? It's not like it was like income tax fraud. You know, the job is related to the fraud allegations. Like, no, this fraud has to do with her and her family and their private dealings as a family. Nothing about her judgeship. It's not about your position on the bench. Like, that's not why I'm trying. Maybe y'all could call up and help me figure this out. The order said the complaint process was meant to correct conditions interfering with the effective and expeditious administration of court business. It said the resignation meant that Barry can no longer perform any judicial duties and thus can no longer be investigated. What? Why? Who put this order in April 1st order? So who authored the order? That's my question. I always say you got to be able to critically think and analyze to create a set of questions, you know, that shows that you're an active listener and critical thinker. And my question is the April 1st order that said Barry's voluntary February 11th retirement ends the review. I want to know who wrote that up. Who decided that? And do people have any decision-making authority in that process? Because I would be like, I'm against it. 82. Bill Cosby was 81, right? Don't try that. Don't go age now. Don't. You're going to jail now. Don't even try. Okay, Dr. Eugene Williams Sr. from Clinton, Maryland. Good morning. Thank you for waking up with Word.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
I heard you say that the nationalists or the whites are very, very upset with the black church. I believe that. Now, I want to suggest to all of the ministers there in Philadelphia, all of the black Afro-American professors in Pennsylvania, to do this, to think very serious about it. Now, if you really, really, really want to make the nationalists upset, then get all of the ministers in Philadelphia trained in African-American studies as they are trained in theology. And then have them to do, as many of the churches may be doing there in Philadelphia, on Sunday morning, talk about being black, what it means to be black, helping young boys and girls to know from whence they came and who they are. Now, you know, we talk often about going to heaven. You know, heaven, for me, is what happens on earth. I'm experiencing my heaven now. Part of my heaven just talking to WURD. And so I say to all of the ministers out there, if you really, really want to make the racists upset, train the ministers and let them teach the way you teach, Professor. inform the young boys and girls and mothers and fathers about who they are. And we can start, yes, the music. We can play the music. One great song we can play is God Made Me by the Mississippi Mass Choir. Now, if you've not heard it, Professor, I wish you would listen to it and play it for the black ministers. They're in Philadelphia. And I'd like Temple University and you all to consider reaching out to the black ministry there and training them to inform the young boys and girls to make them strong black boys and girls. You know,
I hear you.
We will be moving on before very long. Yesterday I heard...
I got some few more callers to get to, Dr. Eugene, but I appreciate your call. Ron from North Philly, after the break, I'll take a break. The commercials are calling. I'm Aaron Smith, she's Queen Kawesa, and you are waking up with Word, y'all.
Wake up with Word with Dr. Aaron Smith. We'll be right back. The Shamari Show. Fridays 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. on Word Radio. And streaming live on WordRadio.com and the Word Radio app. Philadelphia Theater Company presents How to Catch Creation, March 22nd through April 14th. Christina Anderson's new play follows the dreams, losses, and loves of 4 friends in San Francisco who are creating their professional and personal legacies. Ignited by the works of a black queer feminist writer from long ago, their lives begin to intersect in unexpected ways. For tickets, visit philatheaterco.org or call 215-985-0420. Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media.
Hey loves, this message is for parents and grandparents. I want to talk to you about your kids and the schools they attend every day. Is something wrong? Are the programs and classes letting both of you down? Does your child struggle with reading and basic math? Is the inflexible schedule of your elementary, middle, or high school turning your world upside down? Is your child being bullied or intimidated on a daily basis at school? If some of these questions apply to you, maybe it's time to contact Commonwealth Charter Academy. CCA is a public cyber charter school exclusively serving students in Pennsylvania, grades K through 12 at no cost to families. CCA provides internet service reimbursement and a laptop, all at no cost to families. Check out their open house on Monday, April 15th in Center City and Tuesday, April 16th in Norristown. Visit ccaeducate.me today for details. That's ccaeducate.me.
Councilman Alan Dom is building a brighter future for Philadelphia's children, fighting for more school funding, raising funds to support tech education, and personally donating to teach computer coding at Coded by Kids. Listen to Coded by Kids instructor Ashley and CEO Sylvester Mobley.
There are a lot of kids that will have a brighter future thanks to Alan Dom and his contributions to Coded by Kids.
Having Alan Dom make a commitment to transforming people's lives through technology has helped us. I can't thank Alan Dom enough.
Fundraising to teach computer coding, personally donating thousands, Alan Dom is fighting to give our children the opportunities they deserve and preparing them for success. Big ideas, big achievements, a better city for all of us. Vote Alan Dom, Democrat for City Council at large. Paid for by Alan Dom for City Council.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by La Quinta by Wyndham. Jammed up Schuylkill Expressway eastbound side. Heavy Montgomery through Spring Garden. Westbound University through South. Jammed again. Boulevard to Belmont. Westbound Vine. 95 through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Heavy southbound 95. You're jammed from Cottman Avenue down through Girard. Blue Route 476 southbound Mid-County through the Schuylkill. Slow than delays both ways between Route 1 and McDade. Westbound Turnpike delay Willow Grove out through Fort Washington. 42 northbound. 41 to 295. Busy. 55 north jamming. Deptford in the 42. La Quinta by Wyndham. Spacious rooms, free high-speed Wi-Fi, and a delicious bright-side breakfast. Everything you need to more than succeed tonight at La Quinta. Tomorrow you triumph. Book direct at lq.com. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Let's go! You're waking up with Word. Waking up with Word, y'all! On Word Radio. Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. If you don't have that app, you know where to go. Download the app like you know. Host of the show, Aaron Smith, super producer Queen Kawesa. You are waking up with Word. We were talking before the break if you're just tuning in, about Donald Trump's sister retiring as a judge to avoid misconduct probe related to alleged tax dodging schemes. Thank you to Sister Mary from Mount Airy for expediting the news in terms of what's most important to the listeners, because we got a whole bunch of news, a whole bunch of papers, but we like to know what the people want to talk about, what matters most. And this is a local story, so I think it's very important, with national and potentially international ramifications and implications, and even presidential political implications, because, you know, the allegations was, you know, that the family had been involved in a scheme. So it says, the irony is, the judge, that's Donald Trump's sister, Barry, she wasn't even identified by name in this order that was written on April 1st, basically ending the probe as she retired. But the facts match her circumstances, and a copy of the order was sent back to Scott Schuchard, an attorney who filed one of the complaints and had been promised by the court to be kept updated on his process, on his progress. So this guy files a complaint. They say, we'll keep you posted. And then they say, oh, we're done. She retired. He says, I think it's appalling, and we're continuing to pay this criminal. Wow, he's not pulling any punches. Schuchard said he was absolutely disappointed that Barry was able to end scrutiny of her actions by retiring. Quote, if the Times story is correct, then she participated in a decades-long, multi-million-dollar tax fraud that should be an impeachable offense. She gets her full salary, he said. I think it's appalling that we're continuing to pay this criminal, and that she now has completely avoided consequences. Schuchard added, it's ridiculous. Barry didn't respond to an email seeking comment. My goodness, I guess she didn't. I'm going to leave it alone, go to these phones. Ron from North Philly, thank you for waking up with Word.
Yes, sir. Let me just say to the ones who talk about that church, ever since the Lord brought us out of darkness into the marvelous light, we've been singing those songs. Every time I think about the Lord, make me feel good. Then begin to sing, come this far by faith. These songs have been known to lift heavy burdens. They have certainly known to set souls free. There's one song, to whom may not like that, and it has a significant part, whether you can sing or not. One song they sing in all the Baptist churches and all the churches, yeah, Lord, yeah, Lord. Yeah, I heard your voice, Lord. And these hymns, they will never go generation from generation. I don't care what type of music comes. When the most mothers and sisters get the moaning and humming, that's stirring up the soul. I bear witness. We as black people, we are part of the soul stirrers. That music will never die. We continue to sing because the writer wrote, what would the day be like without a song? It would be dark and dreary, especially those gospel hymns. And everything to a song, be God, be the glory. David said, if I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't praise him enough. And the angel said, God will give you a song that the angels couldn't sing. And we have continued to sing. And thank you, Mr. Webb. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for making sure that music went into the hands of people like my family and many others at that age. Thank you. It is done. It is done, but never to be forgotten. Continue to sing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brother Ron. Also, Brother Charles from Camden, New Jersey, thank you for waking up with Word.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
I'd like to say good morning to all the listeners. I want to say something. Preachers, Christian preachers, don't ask God to forgive these people down there that messed them churches or burned them churches up. You know, God kills, you know. Ask God to take them off the planet, him and his daddy. We so fast by forgiving. Ask God to take them off the planet. You want to pray, preachers? You want to pray my people? I love you. Ask God to take them away from you. One more thing, brother. About the schools over in Camden. I've been in Camden since 1954. My wife is a retired doctor. I went to some of the programs that they have for schools. They got an ad. Was over the education assistant here in Camden for a long time. You mean all these black people that have been teaching for years and years couldn't qualify for that? You don't fight. Not you, my brother, doctor. You got a lot of heart. But look like some of our people, the more education they get, like the scatter they get. You got to stand up and fight now. They getting ready to close up 3 schools. The kids are going crazy. You see them on TV last night? They got hard enough to complain. You had to ask. And then you let, when school starts, you let the little white girls come in and teach for a year with little mini dresses on. Teaching our kids, you know the boys ain't going to learn nothing. You got plenty of people. But you don't stand up. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. But God's getting ready to change it. Because I'm praying that he bring on more earthquake, more fire, and get rid of all you Uncle Tom and house, not Uncle Tom, I take that back. Get rid of all you house Negroes. Thank you, brother. Y'all have a nice day.
No, thank you, Brother Charles from Camden. And you can also call up 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, or toll free 1-866-361-0900, toll free 1-866-361-0900. In some scientific news, I wasn't going to cover this story. It's a disturbing story I'm going to get into. Maybe I could do it now. I'll see. But there's some experimentation going on with human genes and the rhesus monkey in China, if you haven't heard. And it's literally dividing the scientific community. I wanted just to share a little bit before the break, just to put it on people's radar. CNN reports Chinese scientists defending implanting human gene into monkeys' brains. Ben Westcott and Serintil Wang has reported in the science portion, and it's not just if you saw, Planet of the Apes, the recent one, and all that, and Outbreak, those movies, but a baby rhesus monkey, right, says a Chinese researcher who sparked improved cognition function in monkeys by implanting human genes into their brains has defended his experiment, which has divided the scientific community. The research undertaken by multiple universities and led by the Kunming Institute of Zoology in southwestern China was intended to shed more light on the evolutionary process by which led to human intelligence theory, right? Brain size and cognitive skills are the most dramatically changed traits in humans during evolution. And yet, the genetic mechanisms underlying these human-specific changes remain elusive. They're doing some experimentation that could have some serious international ramifications, just like all those crazy movies. My thing is, you keep talking about improving intelligence. Like, I understand improving cognition, but if the improvement in cognition doesn't improve the ability to maintain a moral compass, if it doesn't improve your empathy, they love talking about scoring on an IQ test to be able to do certain cognitive motor skill functions and problem solve in terms of puzzles. Can you get a gene that can make people stop and not step over other people when they see them starving? Can you create an implant that could make people have legislation that doesn't speak to giving the death penalty for people who might be seeking reproductive justice? Can you, like you keep talking about improving stuff. We got some things right here that all the implants in the world ain't dealing with. Can you have an implant that's going to leave us with less neurotoxins in the water because people are more concerned with profit than people? Can you give us, a gene transplant that's going to make sure there's no chemtrails in the air or people aren't shooting each other in the face and abusing children, even in churches? Are you like, what are you doing with the monkeys, man? We got things to do. I'm Aaron Smith, Deneen from South Philly. You're waking up with Word.
Good morning, Dr. Aaron Smith. How are you today?
Doing very well.
Good, good. Actually, just to piggyback on what you're saying, twofold, the improvement piece on humanity definitely is something that we definitely need to address. But one of the things that, even looking at what they're doing in Asia, I would like to bring us back to right here at home. One of the things that we need to definitely start doing is stop outsourcing our children's education. If you are looking to improve the quality of life for your entire family for generations to come, you must stop outsourcing your children's education. We are looking at public school systems that have been failing for decades, and yet parents are still sending their kids into those schools without being involved. That is a problem. I currently work in the district in Philadelphia. I've worked in the district in New Jersey, in Camden, and I see this constantly. Our students do not rise to aptitude challenges, academic challenges, unless their parents have an equal investment in what they're doing academically. I have a ton of seniors who have not gone to visit one college, even though they have said themselves that is their dream. Their parents have to get involved in order to make these dreams realities, in order to help their family have the ability to bring up their economics as a whole for generations to come. Families and parents have to do this work. Do not look for a school district to teach your child who they are and who they can be. That is your job. And that is what we need to be talking about and addressing as soon as possible.
No, thank you, Deneen from South Philly. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And I do believe that people have been conditioned by design to place an undue reliance on institutions that in many instances, in most instances, have very little to no interest in certain forms of empowerment, education, and enlightenment, especially when it comes to the knowledge and love of self. So I think as parents, we need to make sure that we're very diligent and we make sure we share the information with other children. Because a lot of times, if you're one of those parents that are hands-on, your child's going to have friends and whose parents are not hands-on. So it is incumbent upon all of us to create a sense of community where if whatever somebody else is lacking, we try to make sure at least the next generation as a whole has the lessons and inspiration and examples necessary to make sure they move forward in a way that they don't replicate, you know, the same problems and issues that we have with education today, where the best and brightest of us are just drawn out and used and sucked up into a system where they're under the burden of whether it's Common Core or new math or any type of PSAT. You know, they can't even just love and teach the children. So we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And I mean, whoever want to play with the monkey brains, that's on them. But just, you know, make sure you contain that. And if things get crazy in the laboratory, y'all lock that down and stay in there with the human monkey face man, y'all self. Don't let them out in Philly. I don't want to be downtown and see no human face monkey man and talking about where I come from. He talking about he ain't got no passport, he's from China. And talking about ni hao. No, we ain't doing that. I'm Aaron Smith. She's Queen Kawesa. You're waking up with words, y'all.
The Source.
The Source.
Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Special guest host Renee Chanel Platan every Monday in April.
The Source. Exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDRadio.com.
This is Cody Anderson. Palace Travel provided me with one of the most memorable trips I've taken to Ghana, West Africa. Palace Travel specializes in tours to Africa, including Ghana, Senegal, and South Africa. Throughout the year, Palace Travel has scheduled trips to Africa, including the next Panafest celebration in Ghana, July 2019. The trip of a lifetime, the historic return of the African diaspora after 400 years in the Americas, August 5th to 14th. Africa's Improvement on Coachella, the annual Afrochella Festival in Ghana, December 27th to January 3rd. Ring in the new year in Ghana. Call Palace Travel to reserve your place on one of their scheduled Africa trips with convenient payment plans. Call Palace Travel today at 215-471-8555 or visit their website at palacetravel.com.
We filmed 15 Pennsylvania kids who were all waiting to be adopted and asked what having a family and permanent home would mean to them.
I want a family just to accept me for who I am, to be there just to support me whenever I'm needing it.
To be matched with a family would be amazing. I won't be in a system all the time.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Einstein Bariatrics wants to talk with you about how losing weight can impact every aspect of your life. They know weight loss surgery is no easy decision, but will be with you every step of the way. With nationally recognized expertise and a full team to support you from the moment you reach out, Einstein is committed to doing whatever it takes to help you succeed long after your surgery. They've already helped thousands start a new chapter in their lives and will do the same for you. This changes everything. Get started with a free information session at EinsteinWeightLoss.com.
Join Word Radio Friday, April 12th for a pre-celebration of the life and legacy of athlete, veteran, and civil rights activist Jackie Robinson at Brown ShopRite, 52nd and Jefferson Streets, beginning at 10 a.m. Bring the family and join us for a live broadcast hosted by Chris Murray with guests including experts on Jackie Robinson, the Negro Leagues, and the Philadelphia Stars. Enjoy hot dogs provided by Dietz & Watson, rolls by Amoroso's, popcorn and snacks by Hers, and refreshments by Canada Dry. Face painting and fun for the young ones. And come early. Be among the first 42 people to start or renew your Forward membership and receive a discounted rate of just $20. And you could qualify to win a $20 Visa gift card and other prizes. Be there this Friday for the pre-Jackie Robinson Day celebration. Presented in part by Brown ShopRite, Amoroso's, Canada Dry, Dietz & Watson, Hers, Moravia Health, Dedicated Senior Medical Center, and Aetna. We are progressive and proud and interactive. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at onWURD. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com. Word Radio News Update with Vincent Thompson.
Good morning. Here's the latest from the Word Radio Newsroom, 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Philadelphia police continue to look for suspects in the death of a local mechanic who was shot and killed by a stray bullet yesterday. It happened around 3 p.m. in the 4800 block of Benner Street in the Wissinoming section of the city. 56-year-old Michael Gilba, who owns Northeast Speedometer Service Auto Shop, was shot by a stray bullet in the stomach. He later died at the hospital. About 15 shots were fired between two groups. Police believe the shooting was over drugs between rival groups, but the victim had nothing to do with it. Police say Gelba was working on a car at the time of the shooting. Gelba was known for his kindness, often fixing cars for free. Anyone with any information is asked to call police at 215-686-TIPS. That's 215-686-TIPS. As of April 11th, 89 people have been the victims of homicide in Philadelphia so far this year, a 16% increase compared to this same time last year. A bill that would raise the legal age to buy tobacco products in Delaware from 18 to 21 has passed the Delaware House and heads to the governor's desk for his signature. The Delaware General Assembly passed the bill to raise the legal age with stiffer penalties for sellers and eliminating the ones for underage buyers. Delaware Governor John Carney says he will sign the bill into law. He says tobacco-related illnesses such as lung cancer and heart disease claim the lives of 1,400 Delawareans each year, and treatment of those illnesses costs Delaware families, businesses, and the state more than $530 million annually. Under the law, retailers caught selling tobacco products to those over the age of 18 but under 21 face fines of up to $250 to $1,000. Checking sports. The Phillies start a 3-game series against the Miami Marlins today. Major League Baseball will play its 2026 All-Star Game in Philadelphia to mark the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. A formal announcement is scheduled to happen next Tuesday outside of Independence Hall. This will be the first All-Star Game at Citizens Bank Park, which opened in 2004. The last All-Star Game in Philly was in 1996 at the former Veterans Stadium. And the second round of the Masters Golf Tournament will be played today in Augusta, Georgia. Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau are the leaders after yesterday's first round. Tiger Woods is tied for 11th place, just 4 strokes away from the leaders. The winner will be determined on Sunday. And the first round of the NHL playoffs continue with games tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Washington Capitals, Calgary Flames won their games last night. Tonight, the Columbus Blue Jackets versus Tampa Bay Lightning. Pittsburgh Penguins faces the New York Islanders. St. Louis Blues plays the Winnipeg Jets. And the Las Vegas Golden Knights against the San Jose Sharks. Vincent Thompson, Word Radio News.
Let's go! You're waking up with Word with the Reverend Professor Dr. Aaron Smith on Word Radio. Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com through your speakers. Positivity, light, positive energy, encouragement. You could do it. Don't let those haters put you through it. Whatever obstacle is in your way, it is just a test. Just a test. Matter of fact, embrace your struggle. If I wasn't, able to overcome it, it wouldn't have brought me to it. If it couldn't bring me through it, let me go to these phone lines at this time. First time callers, make sure y'all call them as well. 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. Oh, that jingle didn't work. But 1-866-361-0900, 1-866-361-0900. The jingle fell flat. I tried to. Okay, Jacob from Albany, good morning.
Hey, peace be unto you, Professor. How you doing?
Peace, doing well.
Hey, look, I just want to tell you how precious yesterday, the little girl who was mimicking you.
Oh, yes, that was funny.
Oh, man, that was real precious. But you know what? You was describing before you went to commercial, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. What the world needs now is love. Like you said, they doing all this stuff, but they'll walk over somebody's stars they're doing. So you was explaining what we really need. We don't need that other crazy stuff. But what I called for, you might have spoke on it. They caught this boy who burned down the churches.
Yeah, we was talking about him. Go ahead, though. You talk about him, too.
But my thing is, they give their people the benefit of the doubt all the way around. When they showed them, they said they're doing an investigation to see if hate was involved.
What?
I said to myself, nah, that was love, man. You did that out of love. I mean, how stupid, but they give their, if it was a black guy that did something like that, he would be the worst monster ever born. But they showed this guy a picture and said they're going to investigate to see if hate was involved. I said, oh, my God. Giving them the benefit of the doubt again. They know that they did it, and they won't even, they won't, they give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll put it like that. But I guess when we start doing that, we're going to be better off. Right, Professor?
More love, more love.
Like you said with Michael Jackson, when we start giving our people the benefit of the doubt, when that happens, we're going to be better off. But thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. Because honestly, it's just due process. It's the way it's supposed to work. But when they do it for themselves and not for us, that's when it's a glaring disparity. On the line at this time, Brother Keith Benson, president of the Camden Education Association, which is the union that represents Camden teachers.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, you called today to help us to work through this news about the $27 million deficit and the plan to close some schools in Camden. We in Philadelphia have some experience with school closings, and we're interested in knowing the parallels and the contrast between ourselves and our neighbors just across the water. Can you explain to us how we even got in this situation as far as the deficit?
Yeah, so in 2012, the New Jersey State Legislature passed what's called the Urban Hope Act.
Okay.
And what the Urban Hope Act did was forced a network of corporate-ran charter schools, and you guys have some of these in Philadelphia, KIPP, Mastery, and Uncommon. It forced those schools into Camden, where usually charter schools established with input from the community, former educators, whatever the case may be, and they all for a different type of curriculum than could be found in the public school system. These corporate-ran charters were forced on the city, and up to 15 of them being established. And right now, currently, those schools are under-enrolled because the idea that parents wanted to flee Camden's public schools was vastly oversold to the point of it being a lie. So what happened was those schools are under-enrolled, and they need to have students to justify their expansion. So essentially, our public schools are being sacrificed, and our communities are being sacrificed to support these corporate-ran charter schools.
So, was that the beginning of the deficit, or was it just exponentially increased based on this legislation that forced, this form of education upon the local residents in Camden?
Yeah, so every year for the past 5 years, the district was running a deficit. But there are certain local developments that take place where the community started beginning to take some of its educational democracy back. So like this last year, we won our right to vote for a board of education again after close to 20 years, and now all of a sudden we're going with it. We're being forced to go without vital aid that we were receiving for each of the past 4 years under the previous superintendent. So it seems to us that there's lots of machinations going, taking place at the state level that's targeting Camden for, a manufactured crisis like this, which pretty much puts our public schools at a deficit.
Now, in terms of the children who will be impacted by the local school closings, is there a supplemental program or plan to assist students in transportation efforts? Because I know a lot of people don't really have access, to transportation in a way they might be able to even, seamlessly relocate and plan accordingly in terms of waking up times and things like that. So are there discussions around how to make sure the young people are able to reach and, be transported to these other schools?
So the district is saying that they'll be providing transportation for the students to go from their homes to the schools that they're being transferred to. But it's not that simple because, like you, I'm a researcher as well. I actually got my doctorate just like you. And the research says that the strongest correlation between where a parent sends their kid and in terms of their schools is location to their house.
Yeah.
So a lot of the parents in the Kramer Hill area are being forced to go past outside their communities to other parts of the city if they want to attend a public school. But the Renaissance School Mastery is down the block about four blocks, so they're going to just send them there. So when we're trying to paint the picture like, kids are being really forced to go to these schools that their parents were choosing to not go to, that's not hyperbole, and that's not an overstatement. And the same thing is happening in Cream, where on the other side of the city in Centerville, where Cream is the only pre-K to 8 school in that section of the city. Now, Renaissance School is opening 3 blocks away in 2020, and those kids, in the meantime, are going to be pretty much forced to go to another section of the neighborhood to go to another Renaissance school. So those connections between, land, geography, corporate ran charters is a lot more complex and a lot more nuanced than the idea that a district's just running a deficit, so now you have to close public schools. Like, it's way more complicated and way more ugly than that.
And I'm glad that you're on explaining this, because a lot of people only hear the headlines or the brief little excerpts and don't really have the historical context, or like you're providing, the studies, that speak to the complexity of the issue and the situation. Yep. Well, what do you make of some of these trends being national? Sometimes people talk about correlations and the tendency to theorize the potential for a larger plan, or even, dare I say, a conspiracy. But when I see these things being replicated, city to city, town to town, it just makes me look at it in a different light. And I was wondering, what are your thoughts on having this be a reoccurring theme, primarily in African-American communities? Not just the school closings, but the deficit, not just the deficit, but the state or city control, not just the state or city control, but also the issues of, communities with less economic wherewithal seeming to bear the brunt of a lot of these changes, since the days of busing. It's not white students getting bused to black schools. It's always the onus, of the less advantaged or the underserved to adjust and adapt in a greater proportion.
So that's a very good question. That could take a long time to really answer, but I'll get to the meat of it like this. One thing that you're starting to see, that there is a similar theme, that this stuff only happens in Black and Latino communities. And Black and Latino communities with very little political and very little financial power. We have very little access, very little true access to politicians that have our true best interests at heart. Not to mention the fact, what you're also starting to see is you're starting to see a lot of African Americans taking up the cause of privatization of our public school system. Now, the thing that's really, really unnerving about that is that the public school system is one of the closest, most grassroots embodiments of democracy in our communities, because typically, in prior decades, you knew who the board members were because you voted for them and lived in your community and things like this. But now as districts become more democratized, like corporations are coming in and pretty much just running, these charter schools that have been forced in these urban communities. And you don't know who these folks are. I mean, I know from here, so we have Uncommon Schools. Their board meets via speakerphone in New York.
Wow.
And here in Mastery, they have the bulk of their board meetings in Philadelphia. So we're now, like in Camden Public Schools, when we have monthly board meetings where we can go right to our schools and, you know, even if we disagree with the superintendent, disagree with the decisions the Board of Education makes, we can go there and, you know, let our opinions be heard. But here, this way, is like the governance is completely taken out of the hands of the people, and only these people, the only people that this stuff happens to are people who look like you and I. And the sad part about it is, the most frustrating part about it is that the corporate-ran charters and their foundations, like the Walton Foundation, the John Arnold Foundation, and so forth, and Gates Foundation, have found African Americans to take up their cause, where before we would be really like skeptical, you know, if a white person came in and said, like, you know, this is what you need to do, this is what's good for your community. They've smartened up and now are using our own people against us, which adds on a whole nother layer of complexity and nuance. And now somebody has to, you know, now folks have to really listen to what folks are saying and really decide who to trust more based on the things that they're saying and how close they're paying attention. And it's difficult to anybody if you're just a parent who want to send your kid to go to school. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely appreciate that whole idea. I was talking with Brother Shamari on the Shamari Show. Shouts out to Brother Shamari. We're having this discussion, you know, about this sophisticated reissue of the notion of I guess, a buffer class, as it used to be referred to as, when they would, you know, elevate some African Americans to work outside the interest of the masses of African people. And like you say, it's a very sophisticated strategy at this point, where they will have the aesthetics and even some of the rhetoric of grassroots progressive organizing and civil rights era, you know, like politics. Like, you see, it's almost like a Manchurian activist.
Preach.
You know, but they put them among us, and we can't help but to trust them. They're in our organizations. They attend our churches or our mosques. They have connections to different figures in history. And it's like, why would this person ever? But then, like you said, if you don't understand the complexity of the machine and the long-term strategies that are taking place, you know, on a national level, it's really difficult to resist. So my question is, with all these changes and all the benefits they're highlighting, since the schools have been, I think you said, state-run for the last 5 years, right, under state control?
Yep.
And they're talking about the deficits being reduced, but they've also been increasing state funding, which is similar to what they quantify when they talk about gentrification. They'll say how the community has improved, but they've treated the community differently ever since the changes were made. So, of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. These other people come in, we fund it better, and say, look, it's doing better. And I see a similar parallel with these schools, where it's like, when the state increases funding, of course it's going to reduce the deficit and improve the system, but it's not necessarily the change in who controls it that caused that bottom line shift. It's just the fact that you donated more money to that area. So whether it's North Philadelphia or the Camden school system, you know, putting more money and paying more attention to an issue often has good effects, but I think it's disingenuous on some level to really try to insinuate or connect even loosely that the improvement is due to who's in control, because then that pathologizes those who were previously in power.
You're absolutely right.
But will people lose their jobs? That's the question I got. Will people lose their jobs based on these school closings? Because that's what happened in Philadelphia, many would argue, that people don't talk about enough.
Absolutely. So people will certainly lose their jobs, and it's not only my union members, but also folks who are outside our union, you know, who, you know, like custodians, other forms of support staff that work in our buildings, that make our schools run, that help our schools run, that who our kids come in and recognize and come to know every single day for years out of their lives, who they form relationships with, and those sorts of things matter. It's extremely unfortunate. But one thing I want to say is that in a way, our Camden public schools are victims of our own sort of successes. And what I mean by that is that the Renaissance schools altogether are so far below what their projections were, right? Because parents were not fleeing our public school system as was sold. So parents were sticking with us.
I hear you.
As contracts have been signed, expansion for the Renaissance schools are being enacted for expansion. How do you justify the expansion without the students? So what's essentially happening is they're going to justify the expansion by forcing our kids into those buildings by closing our schools. Because if given the choice, most of our parents would choose our schools, as they have been for the past 5 years. And in fact, most of the students that the Renaissance schools have, the KIPS, the Uncommons, and Masteries have, was simply because our prior superintendent closing our schools 1 year and reopening the very next year under another name. And what it looks like parents are leaving our schools. When no, the only thing that happened is you closed our school on June 30th under a Camden Public School banner and opened it under a Mastery on September 1st, and with the kids already in them.
Wow.
So the games are getting played all over the place, and it's happening in Philadelphia as well. Again, every urban area that you see where there's black and Latino residents, you're going to see the exact same thing, the exact same playbook, especially you see the connections in areas where that city is trying to redevelop and gentrify.
Now, how do the people get involved before we close? Tell me two things. How people can get involved and support, and also give me all the social media and website information so people stay abreast of the situation.
Yeah, so one staying involved and staying informed goes a long way. And talking to your neighbors, having these types of conversations goes a long way, because a lot of folks really just don't know. A school is a school to a lot of people until you actually break down what you lose when you lose your neighborhood public schools. And secondly, we've been petitioning the commissioner, we've been emailing the commissioner and the state board president and the governor's office incessantly for the last 3 weeks. On Monday, we're taking a walk. We're going to start our walk from Camden to Trenton over the course of 3 days. The last day being on Wednesday, we're going to be meeting up at the State Board of Education. We're going to be making a plea to the commissioner for this aid that we need. And in terms of social media, I'm on Twitter. It's at Keith Eric Benson, and they can find a lot of information just simply right there on my Twitter page. And follow me, I'll refollow folks, and we can continue this conversation, because it's a lot bigger than Camden, and it's a lot bigger than Philadelphia. This is a national thing. They are targeting our communities, and they're using our schools to take our communities over.
Wow. Appreciate it. Brother Keith Benson, president of the Camden Education Association, which is the union that represents Camden teachers. The biggest question my students have when they talk about social media is, are you going to follow me back? So I appreciate you saying that you will follow back. And I think that will improve the likelihood of people following and getting involved and engaged. I just appreciate you for your diligence and the hard work you do on behalf of the community and our people, and continue the great work, and let us know any changes and updates. Feel free to contact WURD. Thank you for waking up with Word this morning.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. Up next, Akbar Cook on the other side of the break, continuing this education-type conversation. Principal of Westside High School, talking about a program called Lights On, where they let children on Fridays stay in school till 11 p.m. And he also put a laundry facility in the school. So we need to talk about solutions as we talk about our challenges as well. This hour is brought to you by Power Philadelphia's organizer, Witness, Empower, and Rebuild. For more information, visit powerinterfaith.org. I am Aaron Smith. She is Queen Kawesa, and you are waking up with Word, y'all.
Brothers and sisters! Don't miss The Source. Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Word Radio, WordRadio.com, and the Word Radio app.
Jacques Wambush Jr. has decided to run for the office of Register of Wills. He thinks new leadership is in order. Now, who is Jacques Wambush? He's a Democratic candidate for Philadelphia Register of Wills. Jacques Wambush Jr. has over 30 years of experience in law enforcement, government administration, training, creating and running successful businesses in our great city of Philadelphia. To better serve communities, as Register of Wills, Jacques would create checks and balances to provide an equitable workforce, implement satellite offices throughout the city of Philadelphia, provide Sunday office hours for outreach, as well as initiating a fraud hotline. With a history of leadership, dedication to public service, and ample experience, if elected, Jacques Wambush Jr. would work diligently to provide accountable, transparent representation and protect the welfare of residents, living and deceased, of Philadelphia. That's why we're supporting Jacques Wambush Jr. Join us. Paid for by friends of Jacques Wambush Jr.
We filmed Pennsylvania adoptive families and asked them why more people need to become foster or adoptive parents.
As a society, we have a responsibility to make sure every kid gets from being a kid to being a responsible adult.
I would encourage anybody to do it. You get so much more out of it than you expect.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
This is Word Radio, independent black media.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. When it comes time to replace your old appliances, make sure the new ones you buy are high-efficiency Energy Star certified. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new appliance rebates at pico.com/rebates. Or you can call 1-8 885-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and energy-saving light bulbs at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
Hurry into McDonald's and get the flaky bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit or the savory bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles, each at the low price of just $2, only at McDonald's.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. Still jammed. The sponsor. This report sponsored by La Quinta by Wyndham. Schuylkill Expressway westbound. Jam Bear to south. Jammed again. Boulevard to Belmont. Again, busy Blue River through Gulf Mills. Eastbound side. Heavy Boulevard through Springard. Westbound Vine. Jam 95 through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill. Eastbound Parkway through Broad Street. Heavy. Southbound 95. Jam Copman down through Girard. South of that. Jammed again. Ridley Park down to the Commodore Barry. Northbound slow. Penn's Landing through the Vine. Expressway 42 northbound. Busy 41 to 295. 55 jam Deptford in the 42. Then Franklin Bridge jammed up midspan to Center City. La Quinta by Wyndham, spacious rooms, free high-speed Wi-Fi, and a delicious bright-side breakfast. Everything you need to more than succeed tonight. La Quinta, tomorrow you triumph. Book direct at LQ.com. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Let's go! You're waking up with Word.
Waking up with Word, y'all.
With the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith.
Get your weight up, and then we'll have a conversation
on Word Radio. Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. You don't have the app, you know where to go. Download an app like you know. Host of the show, Aaron Smith. Producer, Queen Coesa. On the line at this time with you, waking up with Word, is Akbar Cook, principal of Westside High School in Newark, New Jersey, talking about his Lights On program. Good morning, good brother.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having me. Truly an honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here and for all that you do. Can you just tell us about the situation and the climate that's occurring in Newark, New Jersey that even gave you the inspiration to have the Lights On program in the first place?
So when I first got the news that we were coming to Westside, I want to say about a week before school opened up, they found one of my baby girls in an abandoned building. They had killed her because she was pregnant and they didn't want to have the baby. That was my first bout with death, and I want to say when we came into the school, it was so gang infested. I had to have these uncomfortable conversations with community and some of the local gang members, and then we started to right the ship. And I want to say about halfway through the school year, one of my students was kidnapped, and I didn't know that it was alleged he was the connect to the best drugs around. And when he didn't give up his source, they almost decapitated him and threw his body into a neighborhood, projects that we have around here. So that was my second death that I had. And I want to say, going into that summer, we have a thing on Facebook called RLS Media where it's like almost like a police scanner for what goes on, and everything that was happening in my part of town, which is the West Ward, either my kids were doing it or was happening to my kids, and I just felt so helpless. So when we get back to the school year the next year, again, we started making, headway. And we made it throughout the whole course of the year. And I want to say I had a kid that was straddling the fence with the gangster mentality, but he wanted to walk across the stage. He wanted his mother to see him. And I want to say about 2 weeks before graduation, he was killed in a drive-by shooting. So, I mean, I knew I couldn't go another summer just watching and not doing anything. And I'm a Boys and Girls Club kid, so I said, you know what? Let's create a Boys and Girls Club feel here at Westside. We call the Lights On because all of the schools' lights are on all day long, and I'm just like, if we put some loving people in there and provide a safe place, I believe the kids would come. And I want to say the first couple of weeks we had about 30 or 40 people, and then it was a mixture. It was 25-year-old gangbangers, 40-year-old parents and their kids, 8-year-olds. So it was like, wow, different demographics, but they needed us nonetheless. So, we just was doing what we was doing, and one of my local news writers, he came out and he did an article on the Lights On program, and when he did that, his name is Barry Carter, it went viral, and I want to say I started averaging 150 participants on those nights. And that first, right before school opened up around Labor Day, we had this huge celebration where I had 278 participants. I was giving away Keurig machines, anything that wasn't stolen that wasn't mine that was good. And we had an ice cream truck out there, and one of my baby girls came, got some ice cream. She gave me a high five, and then she left. and then later on she was killed by a stray bullet that night. So it kind of drove home the point that, one, I didn't have enough things for my baby girls, and two, that I couldn't wait till the summer to save these kids. I had to do something during the school year. So I went back to my alumni association. I said, let's do it every Friday. I'll change my athletic schedules, and let's open up the building from 6 to 11 on Friday nights during the school year, and let's have an emphasis on the ladies. And I want to say since then, I've been having 350 participants every Friday night, and haven't lost any more kids to gun violence. And that was 3 summers ago. So we've been doing good. So that's the lights on. That's where it all came about.
And it's only Friday for now. Do you have any intentions on or desire to expand the program?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was during the summer, sir. It's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay, during the summer, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And during the school year, it is just on Fridays. You know, you can't keep kids out till 11 o'clock going to school now.
Yeah. But I was thinking in terms of like a Saturday. Is any plans or conversations about maybe even extending it? Maybe they can go out on Saturday nights and utilize the facilities in a similar way. 'Cause I'm thinking Friday and Saturday is probably where most of this stuff happens, right?
Yes. I mean, crime is prevalent around those times, but I mean, my school is open almost 7 days a week. I keep the kids in here as long as possible. So we're here at 9 o'clock. It's just open. When I say open to the other community, that's what I'm talking about. My babies are here every day, all day. If I got something going on, they can come. This is their home. But as far as open up to public, I mean, we haven't thought about that. It's expensive. That's why everyone hasn't been doing it. It's inexpensive. Like, my alumni has been amazing, and we've been getting donations from all over the world. But everyone can't do it, so that's why we came up, and I'm just the same shameless plug, we came up with CookEducationalSolutions.com to help these other folks that are trying to do this in their areas.
Yeah, plug that. Plug that. That's a much-needed plug. There ain't no shame in plugging positivity and solutions for our young people. Like you said, they could preserve their lives, right? So that's the kind of plug that we welcome and encourage. I was going to ask, has there been, a lot of conversations about replicating the model? Because people often feign sincerity about helping our children, but when they see, programs that proven results, sometimes if it's not their program, they don't seem as supportive. But what kind of conversations have you been having? What kind of feedback have you received in terms of, desire to have you, go across the country and train some people and, replicate this model?
So it's been great since all of the Ellen appearances and all of the other things we've been doing. I've been going on speaking engagements around the country. Like, I've been to Vegas twice. I spoke at Harvard. I did some other things. So it's like Rutgers. I did some things. So it's like I've been going around just talking about the story. But now folks are wanting a deeper dive. They want to unpack it further. Like, Cook, okay, we get it. How can we do the same thing? So that's why we had to come up with the LLC, so I can, to help them and then go out and then show these principals or these superintendents how they can replicate it, because it is hard. Everyone don't have the alumni that I had. So now that I found another way to use, whether it's Title I funds or my own school budget, I can show, other areas. Like Chicago just reached out to go out there and help them start up other Lights On programs and other, things that we're doing to try to, love on the babies and get them to be successful. So that's definitely something that just came about, but I'm welcoming all of that. I mean, I grew up with the mantra, I share my toys. Like, who am I if I have this wonderful thing that I can't share with the world? So I'm definitely want to go around the world and share it with everyone. Now,
what in your upbringing, you said you're a Boys and Girls Club kid, right? And you've had some experiences with the benefits of extracurricular programming. My father always said he never got in trouble when he was involved in organized activity. So anytime there was some adults around, like, structuring what was going on, he didn't have too many problems. It was the other times where things might have went left. So in your upbringing, what types of influences and lessons and, what types of mentors and role models? Because you are obviously a role model and a mentor for many in your community. So who are those people that village in your life that helped you to have that dedication to community, and be so diligent in your assistance to your people?
So first and foremost, I'm a grandma's boy. My grandmother from South Carolina, and she came up with all of these just loving ways and things she did. She's a foster parent. We adopted many underprivileged kids, and I think it's in my DNA that I just wanted to take care of the kids that was less fortunate. I have aunts that was in education, and I remember my auntie, she was an educator, and when I went to school, I played basketball. I went to school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I wasn't doing well. And my aunt said, you know you love kids, and how about you go into education? And she said, I'm going to stay into education until you get out of college. I'm gonna do that so I can walk you down that path to get you right. And I remember just not taking it serious and procrastinating, and I stayed in school longer and had to go to summer school. And while that happened, I lost my auntie. She had passed away. So one of the people that I looked up to that wanted it almost more than I did, she wasn't there to see me become this amazing teacher that I became. And then I had another aunt, we call her Umi. She worked at the board, and she said, you're doing so well as a teacher. You can impact more lives if you become an administrator. And again, I sat on my master's education and didn't do it. And I remember my aunt, she just kept sending emails, not even like speaking, saying hi, just like, look, here go job posting for vice principal. And I just was complacent, and I didn't do it. And I want to say my aunt, my other aunt, she passed away, and she never got a chance to see me become this wonderful administrator. So ever since then, Aaron, I've been carpe diem. I'm seized the day. I will never let my family members down anymore. I want them to smell the roses while they're here. So that's why I go so hard. And these women that I let down, they are guiding me and helping me, impact these lives. So every day I think about, I got 3 sons. They're watching. I got other babies that's at my school. They're watching. I have to be that person because most of the times they have no one else. So if I can be that lead by example, I'm hoping that they'll follow. So that's just everything you guys been seeing. I had mentors along the way. I didn't have a father. Like I said, my mother was single. I had just aunts. And it was always a man somewhere throughout my life that just helped me out and just showed me, what a man was being. So I'm just honoring all of them, and that's what you see. So I'm again a strong component of mentors. We try to match every kid in my building with at least one mentor. We have other opportunities, whether it's mentor.com, where you can even mentor one of my kids virtual and just keep another set of eyes on these kids because they feel parentified. They don't have parents most of the time. If they do, the parents are working so many odd jobs. They're not there. So I'm definitely an advocate for that, and just trying to match them and just showing them they have no idea what's out there. So just trying to just be that realist, but also just loving on them. Like you got this 6'7", 285 guy. I'm the biggest teddy bear in here, but I will come with the hammer if I have to. But that's how I was raised, so and that's what I do with the babies at the school.
Well, one thing I remember, I was getting my degree at Temple. And I had a grandmother, like you said, you had your aunts, who was, like one of the main people encouraging me. And I think it was a month or so before I walked across the stage and had my hood ceremony and all that she had passed away. But one thing that I would like to encourage you to always remember is I don't believe that they didn't get to see you, complete your degrees and take your positions, or to take your position in education. I always am sincere about the fact that they did see you and they do see you, and that they continue to walk with you. I don't even know if you would have been able to do all the amazing things you have without having these type of ancestors and angels around you. So, I would encourage you, to, when you tell that story in the future, to remember that they definitely see you, and they definitely are I'm assured, well pleased with what you've become and the ways that you have grown the seeds that they have planted into your life and all the love and information they poured into you, because you're a shining example of what it means to give back and of manhood, because a lot of times we don't get that energy in the educational system. And no offense to people who take a different approach in the way they express themselves, but we need a balance and a variation of the methods and ways that manhood is displayed. And a lot of times, you being the size that you are, and you being the person that you are in terms of being willing to talk to gang members, a lot of people reject that type of energy, even in society, let alone in the professional world. They don't like for black men to stand up like black men and talk to black men like black men. But when it's done out of love and it was done in a professional way, it's sometimes the only way to get through to a certain segment of the population.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things that I would love for you to share with the people is for the educators out there. We had a conversation with a brother, Keith Benson, just before we talked to you from Camden. They closing a bunch of schools in Camden, and they, dealing with a $27 million deficit. And there's also issues of human trafficking in Camden and kidnapping and things going on. As educators, we sometimes need to encourage one another. You've had a modicum of success. I would love for you in closing just to talk to the young people and the educators and just that community that often suffers from all kind of different attacks, and just to tell us, things that you've done that work in a way that we can, replicate, not so much the policies and the programs, but just the spirit of what keeps you going. If you could just share that in closing.
So first, but thank you for what you said about my family, and I appreciate it, and I do, and I will keep that in mind. I wanted to say that some of the best the best educators, the best teachers have the best relationships with kids, period. It's not about what color, skin, creed, or race, whatever they come from. They have the best relationships with kids. So if you want to get in this profession, it's because you love kids and you want to see them succeed. As far as the things that are going on, we have to know that, one, that these kids are coming from a different mindset. It's a microwave society. These phones and the internet is just making them grow up so fast, but they also out here doing it alone. I feel like Child Protective Services tend to care more about the real babies, the elementary school, the middle school kids, but they forget about these high school kids. And those are my babies, and you can't forget about them because they're at the most 4 years away from entering society. So that's when you need to love on them the most. And they're going just growing up so fast, and they need us. So I'm just saying, just hug on them and just don't forget the basic needs. No one wants to hear about an SAT if I haven't eaten this morning. I don't want to hear about a college placement exam if I'm smelling, or I don't want to talk about, algebra and all of that if I can't read. It's just like we have to go back and just nurture them from up, and you can't keep complaining. We can't wait on Superman. You have to become Superman for them, because in most cases that's all they have. So that's how I tell my teachers they got to match my fly. The kids say, because, to look the fly with the clothes, I'm saying match my fly, match my intensity for these kids, match my passion, match my love. If you're not going to match my fly, you don't need to be around me. So I'm hoping that I'm the change agent for a lot of these other principals. Stop coming to my town, raping my city, then going to your town. Invest in these kids, stay here, and put out the product that you signed up for, and I think we'll be a better place because of it.
Akbar Cook, we appreciate you, good brother. Akbar Cook is the principal of Westside High School in Newark, New Jersey. I'm actually a Jersey boy myself. I graduated Montclair, New Jersey, Montclair High School. We used to be down there at Dr. J's and all that. We used to go downtown, you know what I'm saying? No, shouts out to Brick City. It's just a beautiful opportunity to talk to people, who have the optimism, the hope, and the practical application, of their skill set in a way that could benefit our people and not exploit, and draw, the energy out from the community only for the benefit of other communities. So that's an interesting point that you said about, staying. It's one thing to visit, it's one thing to take from, it's another thing to really invest and, pour yourself into these communities in a way that you can build them up. So I appreciate you. Social media, did you do that?
Yes, Principal_Akbar. That's on Instagram. I got Principal Akbar on LinkedIn. No, excuse me, Akbar Cook on LinkedIn, Principal Akbar at AKBAR on Twitter. Again, I told you to cookeducationalsolutions.com. We got friendsofwestside.org if you want to donate to Lights On or want to be a mentor to these kids. Again, friendsofwestside.org. But we've really been pushing the LLC, which is cookeducationalsolutions.com, because we've been able to reach out to some schools and trying to fly out there and help them out as well.
Cook Educational Solutions. Hey, you've been on Ellen twice, right?
Yes, sir.
So they could Google you. Like, let me not act like they don't have a hard time.
I'm big on Google right
now.
They
could Google you. So, but yeah, definitely, I appreciate you, brother. Anytime, man. Thank you for waking up with Word.
Sir. Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Take care. Take care. Akbar Cook, a name I'm sure you're going to hear for a long time to come. That's just a blessing, and an honor just to talk to brothers, who've been sincere about that. And I've been talking to my young men at school all the time. They keep talking about their future. And I say, how many black men did you have in your school when you were growing up educating you? They say one, they say none, a couple might say two. I say, you knowing this and knowing the effect that it had on you and the positive impact it could have had, especially for those who didn't have a father in the home, I said, why you never considered early education as a career, brother? And they say, oh, I don't know. I said, come on, man. We need more brothers in these schools. Brothers. Not just males. We need brothers in these schools that could talk to these brothers. This hour is brought to you by Power. Philadelphians organize a witness in Power and rebuild. For more information, visit powerinterfaith.org. I know the phone line's going to be lit up after these two interviews. 215-634-8065, 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. Toll free. You are waking up with Word, y'all.
Wake up with Word with Dr. Aaron Smith. We'll be right back.
Hey loves, this message is for parents and grandparents. I want to talk to you about your kids and the schools they attend every day. Is something wrong? Are the programs and classes letting both of you down? Does your child struggle with reading and basic math? Is the inflexible schedule of your elementary, middle, or high school turning your world upside down? Is your child being bullied or intimidated on a daily basis at school? If some of these questions apply to you, maybe it's time to contact Commonwealth Charter Academy. CCA is a public cyber charter school exclusively serving students in Pennsylvania, grades K through 12 at no cost to families. CCA provides internet service reimbursement and a laptop, all at no cost to families. Check out their open house on Monday, April 15th in Center City and Tuesday, April 16th in Norristown. Visit ccaeducate.me today for details. That's ccaeducate.me.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
A place like Home 2, located 2276 Georges Lane, provides a clean and active environment for seniors, including referrals, daily cognitive therapy, podiatry, exercise, arts, and crafts. Call 215-878-1200 now.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the Mattress Man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550. Easter is approaching and Leo's has the best selection of men's and boys suits and tuxedos in all sizes, featuring Sean John and Steve Harvey. Men's suits start at $99 and boys suits start at $49. Check out the largest selection of men's straw hats and caps featuring Biltmore, Dobbs, Stetsons, Bailey, and Kangol, with the largest inventory of Stacy Adams shoes for men and boys in North Philadelphia. Leo's is a one-stop shop located at 2705 Germantown Avenue. Ask about the WURD family discount.
Is your child or grandchild struggling at school? Commonwealth Charter Academy, a tuition-free cyber charter school, is hosting open houses Monday, April 15th at 6:30 p.m. at 211 North 13th Street and Tuesday, April 16th at 6:30 p.m. in Norristown at 1000 Sandy Hill Road. Visit ccaeducate.me for details.
Let's go! You're waking up with Word.
Waking up with Word, child.
On Word Radio.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. If you don't have that app, then you know where to go. Download and nap like you know. Me, I'm the host of the show, Aaron Smith, the rapping professor, Queen Kawesa, super producer. Put some respect on her name, and it is time to go to these phone lines. Light the lights on the tree. It looks like it's beginning to look a lot like the phone lines is lit. 215-634-8065, 1-866-361-0900. First up, Carla from Middletown. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Smith. Good morning, Dr. Smith.
Good morning.
I think you brought up an excellent point when you said like we have to begin to have our students really think about going into education, and our community has to see a value in going into education. And parents don't push their children into that direction.
That's right.
And we know that there's a teacher shortage. I'm a teacher. I'm a principal. And so we know
What
that there's
school?
a teacher shortage. I'm at Pennsylvania Leadership Charter School.
Okay, shout your school out.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Shout out to the middle school. But we know that there is a shortage. We have a problem with getting teachers, and then there's an even larger problem with getting minority teachers into the schools. So, it's something that parents have to be able to see. They have to be able to identify those skills and strengths that their children have and then push them into the direction that they need to go. Now, I've worked in public, charter, private, and I think we've gotten off on this argument about whether it's charter or whether it's public, what should it be? And instead, we need to figure out, how can I hold my school accountable? No matter where they are, I got to hold my school accountable so that they're doing what I know that they need to do and what's best for my child.
No,
So
I
that's
appreciate
what I wanted
you.
to offer to the conversation today.
No, I definitely appreciate your call. Sister Carla from Middletown, principal at the middle school. I'm really encouraged when you all call up, especially when people who don't always call and just feel compelled through the subject matter. When Queen Kawesa books certain interviews and provides certain information to the community, it's really encouraging, that people are listening in that way, where it's like, you just feel something inside where it's like, I feel like I have something to offer to the conversation, for the benefit of the order, as we like to say, of the community. Brother Derek from North Philly, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Rapping Professor. Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity. Solutions. Man, I feel like it's Christmas. I feel such a joy with those two interviews.
Yeah, them powerful brothers.
I like the conversation with the first brother. I don't know his name.
Keith Benson, president of the Camden Education Association.
Right on. And how you expound on the conversation that you and Brother Shamari had. And I thought it was really tiring. It reminded me of Nat Turner. When Nat Turner came to Awakening, you know, he was used at one point as to keep us conditioned to a certain way. But when he was awakened, he changed. So I think there's hope for some of these educators who look like they or sound like they talk that talk and look like they walking that walk, but they're really not. And the brother Omar, what's his name? Omar Cook.
Akbar Cook.
Akbar Cook. I saw an interview on television on him on one of the morning news stations, and he called all of his babies. And I heard through your interview that he's calling his babies.
That's right.
Right on to Camden and Newark, New Jersey. Y'all on the move. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that since we have the conversation of reparations on the table now and on the political agenda, I think that the educators in which they're putting themselves in position now is timely, because we need to teach the difference between being enslaved and being slave. As a matter of fact, we need to start holding the conversation about the slavery in itself, because it appears to me is that the same ones who never wanted us to be educated still don't want us to be educated. So a lot has changed, but nothing has changed. That's why it's still the struggle. Therefore, the fight must remain.
I hear you. Thank you, good brother Derek from North Philly. Sister Green from South Philly, thank you for waking up with Word.
Professor, how are you?
Doing well.
I just wanted to talk about the school situation, because down here in Point Breeze, we went through something similar to this, what's going on. Initially, Smith School down here in 19th and Wharton was considered to be a Promise Academy school. We were very excited. And then the next year it came with the improvement plan to make the school better, to go forward. Eventually the school was closed. So what happened to us is that our school was sold to a developer that is kind of well known down in our area. But it was the process that we went through, which was we couldn't understand how Mr. Height would sell a school to a developer. And what happened was the developer that was sold to, Concordia, came from the same area he came from down in Maryland. But when Concordia purchased the school, it was flipped to the developer in our area within 24 hours. And we were really shocked about that. Now, our school is being changed into 75 condos and 25 market rate 5-story mansions, or 5-story houses in the schoolyard.
Wow.
The first house was just listed on Zillow for $795,000. The problem with this is that school was full to capacity. A lot of the children lived in the area and surrounding area, and now many of them was on the lunch program, and so a lot of them was renters, and so by doing this with our one school, this is going to wipe us out for 3 to 4 block radius. And we're saying that now that Mayor Kinney has taken back control of the schools, we need to take a closer look, because what happened was this school was zoned RN1, which is multifamily. We had no say. There was no community meeting, no zoning process, nothing. Okay? And so now everything is done right over the counter. I'm saying this to warn all of the neighborhoods around the school, around the city of Philadelphia, to really look at the schools that were closed, because if they turn one school into a condominium, it can wipe out a community from 4 to 5 blocks. And that's what's happening with us right now, because it shoots up the rent, the taxes, and then all of a sudden, people are being harassed to sell their homes. And so this is a very serious situation taking place in Camden. And I think Brother Keith is right, that this is really about gentrification. This is about really targeting some schools and doing some what they call spot zoning, where you take a school, you turn it into a condo, and you start the gentrification process. I just wanted to share that with everybody, because I think that what they do is target our schools and our churches. That's another conversation, but right now I just want to share with you about what happened to our school. And there are some steps that I think that our city council people should take right now before budget hearings start to put in place to make sure these schools have a community process, a community zoning process, that the community has a say in what goes on in that school. Right now, most of the schools do not have that process. So I wanted to say,
no, I appreciate it.
I wanted to share that with you, okay?
Thank you so much, Sister Green from South Philly. Also, Reverend Joe Williams from Mount Airy on the line. Thank you for waking up with Word.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Image is so important. My wife is from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 60 years ago. She never had a black teacher, period. My buddy, when I went to school with, he went back to Northeast to teach, and the students asked him, Mr. Sumner, are you a real teacher? So, you know what, I did a funeral one time, and the lady, young girl said her grandmother told her when she brought a black picture of a black angel, the grandmother said, put that black picture away. You know there's no black angels. So this image stuff is so important. We had a young man, he used to come, but he never came, his mother did. He wrote the book, I Chose to Stay. I guess you made him know. He was a Volks, he was the director of the chess team at Volks, and then became a principal and went back to Northeast, back to North Philly to teach. He never knew about that book, I Chose to Stay. Oh my goodness, it was a popular book. Anyhow, my daughter was sitting next to my doctor's daughter was sitting next to him on the plane. His wife is the doctor, he's the doctor, and he was sitting in another section of the plane, and she asked the man next to her, my father, Dr. Moody, can you change seats? My father is sitting next to my mother. When the white guy got up, he said, yeah, I will. And by the way, I'm a real doctor.
Wow.
So that image, we got to change all that, Doc. You don't see this on television. I remember years ago when you saw a black person on TV, you said, oh, a black person on television. So we got to get better roles and stop playing these Mickey Mouse roles on TV and let these young people know they're principals, they're doctors, they're lawyers, everything. You got to see it. I worked in a drugstore and I first came out of the Marine Corps, and everybody that came in that drugstore was either a judge or something. I said, man, I got to go to school to do something there. I mean, you got to see it, and that means so much. Now, I'm thankful for letting me get in it. Yeah, you did a great job all week. Just keep doing what you're doing.
No, thank you so much, Reverend Joe. Petey from Chestnut Hill, thank you for waking up with Word.
Hey, thanks, Professor, and good morning. I just wanted to call real quick to express my appreciations for the conversation you just had with both of the brothers, but especially Principal Cook. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I grew up about 5 minutes away from Westside High School. My mother graduated from high school when she was pregnant with me in 1989. I work with kids here in my church in North Philly. I'm a youth minister here, and the conversation that he had just reminded me of the level of intensity and the level of passion that it takes to really make an impact, and also just the manhood that is represented by both yourself and he and the gentleman before him. To sum it up, Professor, I appreciate you, brothers, and you guys both encouraged me to think about, if we don't do it, who else will? So thank you, and just keep on having the good conversations, man.
Well, thank you, Brother Petey from Chestnut Hill. And I think that's very important. We keep, talking about these companies, corporations, these politicians, these various groups. Like, these young men that we don't pay attention to as potential leaders in terms of our educational system are the ones that I think are going to be the linchpin, they're critical to our success. These alpha males, they might right now be on the corner, or everybody got dreams to go to the league or make an album. These are our teachers and our principals, our scientists, our philosophers, our mathematicians. We need to take our brothers back, and get them at least on the level of our sisters, because sisters is getting educated. Sisters is going to these schools. We got to get the brothers on board, and we got to encourage them and love them in a way that they will feel like it's a viable option and a wise decision. So let's embrace them first. Nobody learns from being insulted. And then we're going to charge them and challenge them and hold them accountable. And we're going to motivate them and inspire them as we, make sure that they are disciplined and that they keep their commitment, to their communities. I'm Aaron Smith, the rapping professor. She's Queen Kwesa, the super producer. We talking about building the solutions today. Every day, pretty much, but some days we go a little harder. You're waking up with Word, y'all.
Don't miss the Electric Magazine Show, hosted by Cody Anderson and Vicky Leach. Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
We filmed 15 Pennsylvania kids who were all waiting to be adopted and asked what having a family and permanent home would mean to them.
I want a family just to accept me for who I am, to be there just to support me whenever I'm needing it.
be matched with a family would be amazing. I won't be in a system all the time.
Visit adoptpakids.org to watch the video, meet the kids, and learn how you can become a foster or adoptive parent.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Councilman Alan Dom is building a brighter future for Philadelphia's children, fighting for more school funding, raising funds to support tech education, and personally donating to teach computer coding at Coded by Kids. Listen to Coded by Kids instructor Ashley and CEO Sylvester Mobley.
There are a lot of kids that will have a brighter future thanks to Alan Dom and his contributions to Coded by Kids.
Having Alan Dom make a commitment to transforming people's lives through technology has helped us. I can't thank Alan Dom enough.
Fundraising to teach computer coding, personally donating thousands. Alan Dom is fighting to give our children the opportunities they deserve and preparing them for success. Big ideas, big achievements. A better city for all of us. Vote Alan Dom, Democrat for City Council at large. Paid for by Alan Dom for City Council.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. Word Radio News Update with Vincent Thompson.
Good morning. Here's the latest from the Word Radio Newsroom, 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Facing a $27 million budget deficit, the Camden City, New Jersey School District may close 2 schools and an annex, relocate about 900 students, and cut several hundred jobs. Acting Superintendent Katrina McComb says the district's plan calls for moving students from Veterans Memorial Family School, Roletta T. Cream Elementary, and the Bonzel Annex to better performing schools in the city. Veterans, which has about 500 students in kindergarten to 8th grade, would be closed. The 300 students at Cream would be reassigned as an early childhood center, and Bonzel, which enrolls about 75 preschoolers, would be closed. The New Jersey Department of Education says Camden's budget has not been finalized and any decisions on cuts are pending. Camden has been operating under state control since 2013. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney's opponents in the May 21st Democratic primary unleashed a ton of criticism on a variety of issues yesterday, and Philadelphia State Senator Anthony Williams picked up the endorsement of former Mayor John Street. In the 30-minute speech, Street says Kenney has failed to manage the city's finances, improve its schools, make streets safer, or fight poverty. Former City Controller Alan Bukovitz stood outside City Hall and accused Kenney of lacking diversity in his top leadership team. Just 4 of the 14 officials in Kenney's cabinet are African Americans, Bukovitz noted, and no Latinos or Asian Americans are part of that inner circle. Bukovitz also criticized Kenney's recent statement to the African American Chamber of Commerce of Philadelphia that he couldn't find any diverse candidates for key city positions because many qualified candidates were offered better pay in the private sector. Bukovitz says if African Americans make up approximately 44% of Philadelphia's population, that percentage would be the reflection of African Americans in the upper reaches of the government in his administration. In an exclusive interview on Word Radio's Philadelphia City Council Live show yesterday, Kenney says he is not satisfied with the racial diversity in the city workforce and will propose changes to the civil service system in a second term in order to create lasting change in the city's hiring practices. Kenney's campaign released a statement announcing 7 elected Democrats have endorsed the mayor's reelection. The African Americans on that list are Philadelphia Congressman Dwight Evans and Philadelphia State Senator Vincent Hughes. Listeners can watch my exclusive one-on-one interview with Mayor Kenney right now on Word Radio's YouTube and Facebook pages. And every Friday, Word Radio News and Thompson Media Man Communications gives listeners our good news story of the week. Today, we honor a life well lived. Funeral services were held yesterday here in Philadelphia for Philly native Lorraine Branham, who led Syracuse University's Communication School for 11 years until her recent death from cancer. Branham was dean of the SI Newhouse School of Public Communications and was one of the few African-American female deans of any college communications program in the nation. She was born and raised in Philadelphia and went to Temple University, where her love of journalism began. She worked at 2 newspapers here, the Philadelphia Tribune and the Inquirer, among other jobs in a 25-year journalism career. Branham took over as dean of the Newhouse School in 2008. She previously worked as dean of the journalism school at the University of Texas in Austin. Thousands of journalists nationwide, especially African-American journalists, including this anchor, have been impacted by the trailblazing work of Lorraine Branham. If you have a good news story you would like Word Radio News and Thompson Media Man Communications to consider it, email it to vthompson@wordradio.com. Vincent Thompson, Word Radio News.
Let's go! You're waking up with Word with the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith, on Word Radio. Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Today is the day, Aaron and Kawesa. Later on, we host the show and produce the show. I'm saying, but today, you will be on your way. It is the 4th annual pre-celebration of the life and legacy of athlete, veteran, and civil rights activist Jackie Robinson at Brown's ShopRite, 52nd and Jefferson Streets, beginning at 10 a.m. After the show is the after party. Bring your family. Join us for a live broadcast hosted by Chris Murray. Guests include experts on Jackie Robinson, the Negro Leagues, and the Philadelphia Stars. Enjoy hot dogs provided by Deaton Watson, rolls by Amorosos, popcorn, snacks. Hers is going to supply the refreshments, and Canada Dry with the good drink. Ooh, ooh, it's going to be fun today. Ooh. There will be face painting for the young ones. Like I said, it's going to be amazing. Get there early. Be among the first 42 people and start or renew your Forward membership, and you will receive a discount, $80 discounted price for your membership. Some people just come down today and get your membership. Have a good time. Have your snacks. Bring a young person, get through the face painting, celebrate the life and legacy of Jackie Robinson, but make sure you leave with your membership today. You heard the brothers talking about the commitment to community. We need to make sure we put our money where our mouth is. You can also qualify to win a $20 Visa gift card and other prizes. Be there today for the pre-Jackie Robinson Day celebration, presented in part by Brown's ShopRite, Amorosos, Canada Dry, Deaton Watson, Hers, Moravia, Dedicated Senior Medical Center, and Aetna. On the line at this time, we have another interview just for you. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we have consistently been bringing up stories related to this serious issue. Joining us right now, Wake Up with Word, Jody O'Meara. She serves as Vice President of Communications of RAIN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, where she leads a team of communications professionals in promoting RAIN's resources, educating the public, and working with media partners, like us today, to raise the visibility of sexual violence. Welcome to the program for this serious, much-needed conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Now, if you could just for a little while tell us just what brought you to the work.
So I've spent a lot of years in communications, mostly in the political arena, and I was really excited to come to a really mission-driven organization where I thought I could make a difference in an issue that's so important to so many people. Sexual violence, as you know, affects everyone regardless of age, gender, race, sexual orientation, and so we really just focus on helping as many people as we can, and it seemed like really important work to me.
Now, tell us some of the ways in which RAIN impacts the community, and well, interviews like today increase visibility, but what are some of the methods that you implement to make sure that, you know, if an issue that people like to push to the recesses of their mind is kept in the forefront of some of these conversations in a way that can impact culture and policy?
Right, so I feel like lately, especially over the last couple of years, we've really elevated this conversation, and it's become something that people are talking about more and more. And one of the things we try to do here at RAIN that's so important is, first and foremost, our direct services. So we're here to help survivors and their loved ones get the help that they need and deserve in their greatest time of need, and that's through our hotline, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's entirely anonymous and confidential. So that's really one of the biggest buckets of what we do here. We also work, from my team, you talked about the communications professionals. So our job is to really raise the visibility of sexual violence and try to advance the public's understanding of the crime. And we do that a variety of ways through working with amazing partners like you, as well as with the entertainment industry and colleges across the country. And we also work on the Hill in federal and state government to try to advance laws that help make sure perpetrators are actually put in jail, put in prison, and working with through our consulting division with companies across the country to help with their policies and procedures. So we cover a gamut of issues.
And in terms of the education component, what are some of the things that you would like the public to know that you don't feel like is really part of the national discourse at this time?
Sure. Well, I think it's really important for people to realize that every 92 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted.
Wow.
Yeah, when you really think about that, we even have something on our website that kind of shows a countdown, so you realize what 92 seconds feels like. Every 9 minutes, a child is sexually assaulted. And so that's also a very staggering stat to pay attention to. And then 8 out of 10 rapes are actually committed by someone known to the victim. So it's not this stranger danger thing that, you know, people often associate with sexual violence. It really is something that happens anywhere at any time. And I think it's super important, especially during Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, to know that we all working together as a community can work to end sexual violence. And I think that that's really important. What we love about this month is that it gives us a chance to talk about these issues and elevate the conversation even more. But for us, it's really taking that awareness into action and using that for, you know, the rest of the year, because, you know, we're here to help survivors, not just today and not just this month, but every day.
Wow. Every 92 seconds. What is to be said about the culture in terms of, we've been talking about education for the majority of the program today, but what types of education or educational shifts need to occur to implement a mutual regard for humanity and decency that goes above any PSAT test prep or any Common Core, you know, theoretical notions of what's going to make a school great? How do we get that into the schools where people are just treating people with respect? Because for some reason, it doesn't matter what background they come from. You know, with this type of statistic, that means it's pervasive throughout class and race, and we just have a larger problem to address. So what is it that we could do throughout the process of our education where we socialize our young people? You know, what are we doing wrong in that socialization process?
Right. No, you're 100% right. It really does affect everybody. I think it's important that we really are educating people about the effect and the scope of sexual violence, and that really comes with talking about it more. The more we can make this conversation something that's out in the open, the more courageous voices that speak out. We have a Speakers Bureau here with more than 3,000 members, and these are people who are sharing their stories courageously with everyone, whether it's through the media or through talking at events. And so I think, you know, the more courageous voices that speak out, the more survivors feel they're not alone, and then they're able to come forward as well. So I think that's really important. We've been sort of working to develop a public understanding, and I think we've seen it more and more, that sexual violence can never be excused, and that the only person responsible for that crime is the actual perpetrator of the crime. And so really finding ways to believe survivors, to believe people when they tell their story, and public opinion really has evolved, and I think that that's happening more and more, and people are more likely to believe survivors. We talk a lot with members of the media and the entertainment industry who want to make sure that they're saying the right thing, that they know how to approach a survivor. It's really, really hard to tell your story, and we know that that's how more and more people understand the issues. So knowing how to listen to someone and how to talk with someone, you know, that often the first time someone discloses sexual violence is on our hotline. And we know that the response that they get the first time they tell their story really can change the course of their healing and their recovery. So it's really important that we all as a community understand that as well.
Wow. In terms of Hollywood, I had a conversation with a guest a couple of days ago, and we were just talking about these messages that you get from Hollywood. And one of the things that we talked about was, you know, these old black and white movies where the man would just grab the woman and take her and kiss her. And there was never this understanding of the process of consent and how it should play out in these interactions. And we even talked about that depiction of the soldier who comes home, and that iconic scene that they made a sculpture and a lot of art out of, where the man, you know, comes home from battle and he kisses the woman. And then the story from the woman's perspective was that she didn't even know the man and had no desire to be kissed. So how do we flesh out the conversation around consent, where young people, even today, who are, going through puberty, experiencing dating, how are they taught that at the end of the night, you don't just, like your father and grandfather did, lean in and try your best and hoping she doesn't lean away, but really appreciate people's, boundaries and respect them and have a conversation in a way on both sides? Because if the women are being taught to play hard to get and to not let on, and the men are being, taught to just go for it and see what happens, how do we really upend that whole type of interaction that sort of foments some of this, gray area where people can, end up not having consent?
Sure. I mean, consent really is all about communication, and that's what we try to share with the public through our resources and information. You were right when you talk about starting really early. We also talk about with kids, it used to be really acceptable to sort of force a child to give, grandma or grandpa a hug as they're leaving, or go with your aunt and uncle, or take a picture. And it's really important now to understand that that's not really the way you should help your child understand what it means to have their own boundaries and to be able to say yes or no. And so I even ask my godchildren, can Auntie Jody take a picture with you? And let's ask Mommy if Auntie Jody can take a picture with you. So they start to understand that just because an adult asks for something doesn't mean that they have to say yes, that it's a chance to go check with your parent, to go check with, someone that is important in your life that you trust. And so it's starting at that young age and then continuing that conversation. And, consent, while the laws vary by state and situation, it really is about communication and understanding that you get consent every time, and that just because you've consented to something one time doesn't mean that you've consented going forward, and that you can change your mind at any time. And I think that's really important to teach all of our young people, because, again, anybody can be affected. Anybody can be a perpetrator. It's not just, the stranger around the corner. So it's really important to talk across the board to everyone.
Yeah, and we see today how it's affecting, Hollywood. It's affecting even presidential politics in terms of hopeful candidates. This notion of previous generations who just don't have the skill set. They don't have the information. They don't have the vocabulary. They're not literate in regards to issues of consent in a way that some of the millennials and others are. How do we bridge that gap? Because when we talk about the young people, it might be a little easier institutionally to educate and socialize them. But for these people who are, 50 to 80 plus years old, who have been completely raised on a diet antithetical to everything we're trying to make society legally abide to, what is to be said for those, people who are set in their ways, but not necessarily on the right side of history currently?
Right. I think the best way to make that meaningful change is to keep talking about the problem and then working toward the solutions. I think as we elevate and shift the conversation, it helps us change the culture that you're talking about. So the more we take that crime sort of out of the shadow and remove the thoughts about, it doesn't happen here, it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't happen in my community, the more people will feel sort of comfortable coming forward and getting help. And it's really, we kind of point to, you remember when with the seatbelt laws, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
Sort of thought it was crazy, like, you can't tell me to wear a seatbelt, and and then it just changed. It was a culture shift, right? And people now, you don't even think about getting, or at least most people wouldn't think about getting in a car without putting their seatbelt on. It's just a normal thing now, right? It's part of society. It's part of what you do every day, and that's because people just kept talking about it and kept looking and listening to the facts, and that's what we're hoping will eventually happen as we continue this conversation, right? That my hope is, a few years down the road, we won't have to have an organization like RAIN. We are here to help survivors and their loved ones, and the ultimate goal is that we wouldn't even need to exist, and that this wouldn't even be an issue, that it would be obvious that you have to get consent, that it would be obvious that you don't violate a person in their space, and, that would be the ultimate goal.
No, I hear you. I remember growing up with a seatbelt situation where, the kids would, even the baby seats, remember, where the child would just be on the parent's lap, and I was really young. That's just the way people would travel. The mom would just have the child sitting on the lap, and they just go for it, with that long couch seat in the back of the car. So it is interesting, in terms of the potential. We do have the potential with the right attitude to make sure that we have a exponential paradigm shift in the way that culture perceives consent, the same way that we did with safety. And secondhand secondhand smoking. That's another one that dealt with the drive, because it was courteous for the person to roll down the window about 3 inches and blow the smoke outside the car. That was about as much courtesy as you got back in the 70s. So you're right. We can do it. We can definitely do it. Social media-wise and website, I know a lot of people might want to, reach out because they're experiencing, something themselves. There are people who want to get involved with this type of work because they see how important it is and just want to keep abreast of the issues, because even the statistics you named at the onset of this interview, I'm sure was shocking to a lot of people about the magnitude of the issue. So if you could share social media information and website information, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So if you go to RAINN, RAINN.org, we have all of this information there. We have a Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month page. We've sort of themed the weeks to make sure that we're speaking out and supporting survivors, staying educated, and we have shareable graphics already on the page, so you can share those stats pretty easily. We have sample social media posts and things that you can share. We're at RAINN on our social media, so really easy to tag us and to engage in conversations with other folks who support this issue and are out there trying to help. We also have volunteer information on our page where our online hotline where you can chat with survivors. We have volunteers who help us with that, and so there are ways to get involved and go through that training also on our page. And then ways to donate. So whether that's donating your time, donating your money, donating your experience and telling your story, lots of ways to get involved. So again, it's RAINN.org, RAINN.org. And anyone who needs help or wants to talk with someone, again, our National Sexual Assault Hotline is available 24/7, and that's at 800-656-HOPE, 800-656-4673.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jody O'Meara. As we stated earlier, and throughout the month, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and Jody O'Meara serves as the Vice President of Communications at RAINN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. We just thank you for the important work that you continue to do, not just for women and not just for young people, but just to make our society better overall. And I think that these are very difficult conversations for many people, but very necessary conversations as well. Thank you for waking up with Word this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
I'm Aaron Smith. She is Queen Kawesa. We're just trying to make a difference, trying to make a positive change, and trying to give the information that the people can use for the benefit of their lives and to make them feel secure in understanding that it's not just them by themselves. So if you're going through something, please feel free to contact the good people at RAINN and utilize that hotline number, or encourage somebody that you know who's still struggling, with the after effects or the continued effects of abuse. We want to make sure that we are there for one another in a way. We talked about love all day. We just got to increase the love, whether it's education or just, respecting each other's boundaries or helping each other deal with certain traumas. We need to, be more loving and be more patient, be more respectful, be more cooperative. I think that, that is the type of conversation that's going to get us where we need to be. And reparations. I'm Aaron. She's Kawesa. Thank y'all for waking up with Word, y'all.
Maury Show. Fridays 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Word Radio. And streaming live on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
What's cheesy, topped with a fluffy egg and crisp applewood smoked bacon? Easy. McDonald's new $2 breakfast deal. For a limited time, get a flaky bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for just $2. And if you're craving something savory and sweet, get a delicious bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddles for the same price. Hurry in and bite into this tasty deal any day of the week. Only at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal for a limited time only.
Hey loves, this message is for parents and grandparents. I want to talk to you about your kids and the schools they attend every day. Is something wrong? Are the programs and classes letting both of you down? Does your child struggle with reading and basic math? Is the inflexible schedule of your elementary, middle, or high school turning your world upside down? Is your child being bullied or intimidated on a daily basis at school? If some of these questions apply to you, maybe it's time to contact Commonwealth Charter Academy. CCA is a public cyber charter school exclusively serving students in Pennsylvania, grades K through 12, at no cost to families. CCA provides internet service reimbursement and a laptop, all at no cost to families. Check out their open house on Monday, April 15th in Center City, and Tuesday, April 16th in Norristown. Visit ccaeducate.me today for details. That's ccaeducate.me.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM, WURD.
Easter is approaching and Leo's has the best selection of men's and boys' suits and tuxedos in all sizes, featuring Sean John and Steve Harvey. Men's suits start at $99 and boys' suits start at $49. Check out the largest selection of men's straw hats and caps, featuring Biltmore, Dobbs, Stetsons, Bailey, and Kangol, with the largest inventory of Stacy Adams shoes for men and boys in North Philadelphia. Leo's is a one-stop shop located at 2705 Germantown Avenue. Ask about the WURD family discount.
Now, with more clarity, this is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Streaming live at wordradio.com. Let's go! You're waking up with Word.
Waking up with Word, y'all.
With the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith.
Get your weight up.
And then we'll have a conversation on Word Radio. Black Talk Media.
900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. If you know how to rap, you know where to go. Download that black, me. I am the host of the show, Aaron Smith, the rapping professor. Clink away, son, nobody but the super producer. Okay, put some respect on her name. And all the listeners, welcome. We love you. We honor you. We respect you. We appreciate you. And we're so glad that you came on the line at this time. Sylvester Mobley, founder and CEO of the Youth Technology Education nonprofit Coded by Kids, will receive the coveted Philadelphia Award for 2018. Mobley was selected by the Board of Trustees of the Philadelphia Award in recognition of his tireless work to create a pathway for underserved and underrepresented children to access tech education. Welcome to the program, Sylvester Mobley, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, talk to us about this great nonprofit. Now, this award-winning, well, I don't know, you might have won awards before, but this newly award-winning, another additional award if you already got some other ones, Coded by Kids. Talk to us about that.
So Coded by Kids is an organization that focuses on getting more young people from underserved groups, underserved communities, underrepresented groups into viable, high-opportunity, high-growth careers in tech. There's a couple of things that happens a lot of times when there's a tech training program. It concentrates all of your diversity in the lowest paying jobs. All of the people of color get stuck in jobs that don't have a lot of opportunities for growth. What we say is we want to focus on how do we get our kids into careers in tech that have the highest opportunities for growth, and how do we build long-term developmental programs to do that.
Now, what made you even get involved in it? Was your background growing up in computers? Did you, get engaged with technology at a later date? Just to get a little background on your story, just to understand, how you reached this point.
Yeah, so I have a background in tech, but by accident. When I graduated high school, I was 17, joined the Marine Corps, spent 4 years in the Marines, and learned that you could re-enlist but didn't have to re-enlist in the same branch. I re-enlisted in a reserve component of the Air Force. And because I was going from the Marines to the Air Force Reserves, I didn't have to go to basic training or anything like that. I just needed to pick a job that I was qualified for. And I was trying to honestly pick an easy job. And, I saw this job. A bunch of people were sitting in front of the computers. It looked like they weren't doing a whole lot. I said, hey, done. That's the job I want.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, the job was computer network cryptographic switching system. And that's how I got into tech. So,
wait, now, we all don't understand exactly what you just said now. We're not all literate on the computer side. You said crypto. Can you wait, slow that down for me one time.
Computer network cryptographic switching system.
And to the person who's not really as familiar, with the computer terminologies, in layman's terms, what would you describe that as?
It was a combination of things. I was able to learn to work with everything from hardware, so like your desktop computer,
okay,
to servers and switches that provided the infrastructure for how networks run.
And Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, so everything that ran the gamut, everything from networking to I learned to work fiber optics.
No, that's amazing. And in terms of the young people, how do you find it? Well, you don't find it difficult because you're getting an award for being able to do it effectively. But how do you? What is the secret to taking these complex methods, these complex programs and technologies, and translate them into a language that the students could readily, acquiesce to and retain? How do you become that bridge between complex concepts and the child's understanding of what it means to code?
So there's a couple of things. Like one, the point that you just touched on with complex concepts. One of the things our instructors do, one of the exercises we do is our instructors have to explain a complex technical concept without using any technical terms.
Okay.
Being able to start from the point of, you're not assuming someone has a context for this. The other thing that we do is a lot of it is intentionally designed to frustrate the kids that we work with because we want to build that resiliency. The default is to gamify things and make it enjoyable so that the kids, feel like they're playing a game. The problem is sometimes, especially with technology, there's a lot of aspects of it that aren't fun. There's a lot of aspects of, programming and software development that are just going to be boring. And if you're not building that resiliency in kids and they aren't able to make it through both the exciting things as well as the things that aren't so exciting, it's hard to keep them engaged.
No, I hear you. That's powerful to explain the concepts without you. That's like taboo, right? You can explain it, but you can't use certain words. So I think that's a good lesson for people who are trying to get information to children about anything, that's particularly complicated traditionally. Now, how do people get involved with your program? For people who are hearing about it and just say, I got a young person who I think, would really benefit from learning more about coding. How do young people get involved?
There's a couple of ways. One, we run programs in schools throughout the city. So, if there's a parent or guardian, teacher that has a young person they want to get involved, I would say the first stop is to see if we're already running a program at your child's school. The second stop is you can always come to our website and, see what programs we have coming up that are open enrollment programs. And, register through the website. One thing I will say is there is usually a pretty high demand for our open enrollment program. So there is often a waiting list for this.
No, I can imagine, and even more so now that you're receiving this Philadelphia Award for 2018. It's a very coveted award. The Philadelphia Award is a very big deal, and apparently, you're doing great work and people are taking notice, which is equally as important. Is there any conversation about replicating the model, maybe, having more opportunities in the greater area and being able to service more young people since there's such a great demand?
So we're already in Delaware and South Jersey.
Okay.
Everything that we do is really based around how do we build a scalable model. So everything in terms of how our programs are designed to how our instructors are trained is with an eye on we need to do this in a way that it scales. So, we're in between 20 and 30 schools in the city of Philadelphia alone. So we're already spread out across the city of Philadelphia, and we're constantly looking to where can we move next and what city is next.
Wow. No, and is there any social media sites for people who want to gain information who don't necessarily have access to the program? Is there information like on your website where people can get some of the basics, without necessarily being part of the program or if they're on the waiting list?
Unfortunately, there isn't. We try to focus on having as much stuff person to person as possible. Teaching programming, teaching development, teaching some of these skills can be very complex, and it's easy for someone to get frustrated and drop off without an actual person there to help them through it.
Wow. And are there any texts that you suggest for some of the adults out there who might want to, positively impact a child's life in that regard, that might not be able to be part of a program like this but can learn something? Is there an introductory text that you often, say that you would suggest?
Yeah, so there are a ton of websites that are really good starting places. Like Teen Treehouse is one of them. And Udemy.
Udemy?
UDEMY.com.
UDEMY.com. UDEMY.com. No, I appreciate your time here today with us, and I know that there's a lot of young people who are talking about, getting involved in coding or hearing about it. And one of the things I heard was that some of these jobs are paying upwards of $300 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the fastest growing, but this is also a field that's driving a significant amount of economic development across the country.
Mm.
And where the interesting tie-in is, if you think about a city like Philadelphia that's dealing with huge disparities in terms of, there's two Philadelphias. You think about the gentrification that's currently being driven in Philadelphia. A lot of that is being driven by the growth in tech. So what unfortunately happens is one Philadelphia is able to take advantage of that economic growth and benefit from it. The other Philadelphia becomes a victim of that growth.
No, I hear you. One or the other. Brother Sylvester Mobley, founder and CEO of the youth technology education nonprofit Coded by Kids, award winner of the Philadelphia Award for 2018. And I just really appreciate you for what you do for the young people, and also just staying on the cusp of, what's driving the ever-changing markets and what can help our young people to add value to the marketplace through technology. Thank you so much, sir, for waking up with Word.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, definitely. We gave y'all some interviews today. Queen Kawesa lined them up. Got some information for some people. I hope we got y'all thinking. That's the main thing. Like, think. Don't be so confused and so wrapped up in what's going on that you don't know what you can do to change what's going on, or you could become what's going on. One of the things that I always talk about is my affinity for these institutions that have proven programs of doing great work. You'll always hear me shouting out, or the brothers at the mosque, number 12, right? I went down there and heard about the program, and I'd already, done extensive research on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I was just looking at how they had this men's meeting. I was like, the men need to be here. Every time there's a men's meeting, if you hear about a men's meeting from Mosque number 12 on Broad Street, I don't care what your religious affiliation or what your group, you could be in charge of your own group. We need to share different tips and benefits. There's one group might be doing this that you can learn from, just like you got a group that you might, some people think, I got my own group, and I don't, no. Bring your group then to somebody else's group and build. And then we can build a nation within a nation, especially for our young men. So salute to all the good brothers at 2508 North Broad Street, Muhammad Mosque number 12. And if it's a lot of people are wondering about the new building, and they're working on getting the securing of the new property. So around Sunday at 11, you can always stop by, and support the brothers. And it's very important that you make sure you see what works. If you ride up and down Broad Street, should I even go this hard right now? If you ride up and down Broad Street, you look to your left and your right. Well, only at the lights, though, not while you're driving. Don't let me have people looking to the left and the right while you're supposed to be looking straight. Look straight, right? No, but seriously, as you approach the various lights on Broad Street in North Philadelphia, don't just count the braiding shops. Don't just count the sneaker stores. Okay. A lot of clothing, no, but seriously, where do you see black men being given a program of regimented discipline where they protect women and honor their community? You heard the statistics. Every 9 seconds, somebody's sexually assaulted. I'm going to ask y'all a serious question. With all of the FBI infiltration and investigation that even led to the neutralization, murder of men associated and affiliated with civil rights and groups like the Nation of Islam, I'm going to ask you this so seriously. Every 9 seconds, right? Every 92 seconds, And every 9 minutes, a child is assaulted. When have you ever in your life heard about a member of the Nation of Islam raping anybody? This is a powerful question. If I asked you when the last time you heard about a priest in the Catholic Church raping somebody, you'd run out of fingers and toes. When have you... I'm telling you that the whole apparatus of the FBI was against people like this, and they couldn't find nothing to even lie about. They never even tried to come amongst us and lie about this program and what it did for brothers. So here we are talking about education. Go look at what the MGT and the Fruit are doing. Go look at the young people in the nation and tell me if they suffer from all the problems we talked about today. When we talk about sexual assault and sexual violence, go look at the program. You don't got to be religious. Go look at the program and tell me there's nothing you could glean from that program, because they don't seem to have those problems. Shouts out to the brothers from Mosque number 12 and all the brothers in the nation. Because, I mean, sometimes facts are just facts. You just got to call it what it is. Like, if you see, so that's why I say when you ride up and down Broad Street, you see all this gentrification and councilmatic privilege, and you got some brothers that are trying to own and control and raise up the community and protect them. And like Malcolm said, we got to put our religion in the closet sometimes and just think about what benefits African people. What benefits black folks? And if you see them brothers out there doing business, you know, we talk about how they dress, right? We talk about excellence, right? You got brothers suited up and booted, clean, respectful, doing business, spiritual. Like what? Hey, I'm like Malcolm. I'm willing to work with anybody that's willing to work with us. So as you hear me shouting out the great pastor Alexander Graham Houston in the Christian Church of Philadelphia, don't ever think that means that I don't think I'm black because I'm Christian. Woo! I'm Aaron Smith, the rapping professor. Because we play sometimes. We play sometimes. We'll go donate to some progressive startup, kale chip, hot yoga, okay, dog grooming representative that claims they march with somebody. Okay. And you got brothers that for you waking up with word, y'all.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent black media.
PP Shows presents the Mother's Day Music Festival Weekend in Atlantic City. Friday, May 10th at Caesar Circus Maximus Theater, The Whispers. And the Force MD. Saturday, May 11th at Boardwalk Hall, Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Joy and pain. Kim.
Hey girl, you can trust in me, girl.
I'll Be Sure. And Christopher Williams. The weekend wraps up Sunday, May 12th at the Tropicana with After 7. And Drew Hill. 3 shows in 3 nights. Log on to ppshows.com for information about discounted hotel rooms, 2 big after parties, and brunch. Tickets to all the concerts can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com. Mother's Day weekend. Atlantic City is the place to be with 3 big concerts. Be there.
Philadelphia Theater Company presents How to Catch Creation, March 22nd through April 14th. Christina Anderson's new play follows the dreams, losses, and loves of 4 friends in San Francisco who are creating their professional and personal legacies. Ignited by the works of a black queer feminist writer from long ago, their lives begin to intersect in unexpected ways. For tickets, visit philatheaterco.org or call 215-985-0420. Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent black media.
Let's go!
You're waking up with Word.
Waking up with word, y'all.
On Word Radio.
Black Talk Media.
Black Talk Media, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, WURDradio.com. Listen live anytime and log on. If you don't have the app, you know where to go. Download an app like you know. Host of the show, Aaron Smith. Queen Kuwait's the super producer. You are waking up with Word. Now it is time to go to the phone lines. Leon from Center City. Long time. Good to hear from you, good brother. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome.
Captain Professor, how you doing?
Doing well.
All right, I was listening to the guy talking about schools in Camden. And, you know, it just struck me. And he said that basically school governance is the most democratic, most local form of government that we have, and the most important. If you can't determine who is going to run your schools, your children's schools, and what the curriculum would be, and who would get the $3 billion contracts, then you're really not gaining as much leverage for your vote as you can. We're talking about electing a mayor. We can elect the president. All the presidential candidates now are swarming around in the black community, and they're Democrats. We have a powerful a group of voters, but we just don't know it. How many people fought and died for us to have the right to vote, but we don't use that vote effectively. And now I asked you and I asked others, I've never gotten an answer. What is it that will make African Americans in this city to allow a situation where every school district in the state, out of 501, can choose their school board through the ballot, except for Philadelphia? What is it that causes African Americans not to rise up because not getting the same power that other school districts have? I'd like to know the answer. I have asked politicians, elected officials, talk hosts, education advocates. I have never received an answer. So what do you think?
Could be fear, could be ignorance, could be racism, could be apathy.
But we get involved in other things like mayors' races and presidential whatever, that, electing judges. If they told us that we would be the only people in the state that our school couldn't have a football team, we would be out there ready to tear the place up.
Yeah, we're not fearful and apathetic about athletics. But there's a long history to that, too, and people aren't usually, killed for trying to play football like they were for trying to vote, so there's a different historiography that plays a part in the engagement.
I understand that part, but this is like, there's no way that they could deny us if we demanded. We don't demand it.
You're right about that, yeah.
Self-government. Why in our schools? And, somebody said, I think on your show, that Germantown High School sold for $100,000.
Oh, I thought it was much less than that.
Yeah, I heard it was $100,000. And it wasn't sold by the city, it was sold by developers. The developer bought a bunch of schools in a lump sum from the city and sold Germantown High for $100,000. How could we allow that to happen? We need to check ourselves out, Doctor. I mean,
no, I hear you.
Blame white folks all we want, but we need to wake up and see that we sit up here with a loaded gun, talking about we're afraid. We're
I hear
to
you.
fight back.
No, I hear you.
All right, that's all I want.
No, I appreciate you. I'm just reading some of it in terms of the Germantown High School, how they scored the former high school, which showed a $12 million value on its deed, but is now valued at $1.6 million, according to the Office of Property Assessment. Houses sold for just $100,000. There's a reason for their confusion to this day. There's uncertainty about who even owns the property in terms of developers. Yeah, that was messy. I'm reading an article, Why Did a Shuttered Germantown School Sell for a Fraction of Its Value, from Billy Penn, the article from March 20th, 2019. Brother Friendly Fred from Northern Liberties, thank you for waking up with Word.
Thank you, Reverend Professor. How you doing this morning?
Doing well.
I'm doing well, too, man. I just want to say, like Master told me one day, you don't have to cry alone. So, baby, dry your eyes and hold on and be strong and cheer up. Happy little people, friendly little people, trust little people they are. Keep laughing, keep learning, keep jumping and playing, and reach for the stars. And this is the last time you will have to cry. So you're going to cry and dry the tears from your eyes and keep your head to the sky. And Father replied, I heard your cry, and I watched enough to know when someone is yearning for me and I can hear it. Miles away, come to see victory. You need devotion. Then you got the guiding lights and the guiding stars and the brighter lights. And the Friendly Fred show is the gift of love, and the gift of love is the Friendly Fred show, and you are the gift of love, too.
Appreciate you. Always Friendly Fred from Northern Liberties. LC from Old City. Thank you for waking up with Word.
Good morning to you, Rapping Professor.
Good morning. Doing well.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking my call. I was prompted by Leon from Center City addressing the fact that Philadelphia County is the only school district in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that doesn't elect, doesn't have the power to be able to select members of their school board. And I think I spoke with you before about this, maybe last year, that when the question was put on the ballot, the question asked, were we in favor of having local control of the school district of Philadelphia?
And when was this done?
This was, well, it was under this current mayor.
I got you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. However, we, what did I want to say? What we wanted, we stated, and this has happened on many occasions. People have testified at the former SRC meetings, have written, and have said that we need to have our elected school board. This mayor came in, and all of a sudden, now we can have it turned over to local control, not electing our own school board, and they didn't even have the decency not to put members of the former SRC on this current school board.
And what does that mean when they say local control as opposed to elected like the other counties? Just to explain the difference.
The mayor controls everything. Ultimately, even though we have this board that he's put together, he's the one who has the final say as to what will happen.
Well, he has the first and final say in that regard, right? He's just picking who he wants, right?
Well, that's how I see it.
I hear you. No, I just want to make it plain. I want to make it plain for the people listening.
Okay, yeah,
you know, so we went from the SRC to the mayor's picks.
That's correct.
And that's very different.
And it was the governor's picks before.
I got you. So we went from governor to mayor's picks.
He had the majority of the members of the SRC.
Got you.
Okay.
So even in terms of the SRC structure, we're still talking about one person's personal picks for the majority of the leadership.
Yes, that's how I see it.
No, I appreciate you. Go ahead.
I hope we can get this straightened out.
And what does that look like to you? I'm sorry. What is that? When you say straightened out, what do you desire?
Well, what I desire that we do have an elected school board in the city of Philadelphia, and I think they could have. And Leon, we were part of a group called the Marketplace of Ideas, and we even got a proposal together and went to Harrisburg and met with some of our representatives in Harrisburg, presented it, and we were trying to get our representatives to agree that we needed to be in control. You know, at one time, I believe this budget, the money that came into the school district of Philadelphia was $3.2 billion, I think.
Okay.
All right. Now, here we are with all of this money that comes into the school district of Philadelphia. Are they trying to say that because there's so many black people and other minorities that we can't, we don't have enough common sense to be able to elect people who are capable of running our school district?
No, I hear you.
That's another reason why we still don't have, as far as I can see, we still don't have African American studies in the system. And I know Michael Cord and Avenging the Ancestors, they made efforts to get that program in that the late Dr. Ed Robbins.
The infusion program.
You okay? Yes, right.
No, I know. I hear you.
Okay, you know about it.
Oh, yeah,
so
all about it.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that we just falling for, we used to say the okie doke.
Bamboozle, run them up. But I got to close out the show. I appreciate you for calling
can I
in.
say just one more thing?
You sure can. Go ahead.
And this is about the judicial election. We are not hearing much about the fact that judges are being elected. And in a city where we have stop and frisk, and we know that we are at the disadvantage, we're the ones that are being incarcerated the most.
Yeah.
Right? And get the fines, the parole, et cetera, et cetera. How is it that we can't speak up and say we need to question who is running for judges?
Yeah, they need to be vetted too, right?
That is correct.
I hear you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you so much, my brother.
I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
You as well, LC. We have to have conversations about that which impacts us most directly. The issue of judges being vetted, the issue of schools being closed, the issue of school board, like this is, in the beginning of the show I was talking about, basically like a great divestment, I've been calling it. I think it's time for the great divestment. I'm not talking about segregation. I'm not talking even solely about economics and cooperative economics. And like what the great Reverend Leon Sullivan called selective patronage, which are great, and we need to implement a lot of this stuff. But I'm talking about divesting your energies and your mental faculties away from that which is not fruitful for your people. If you catch yourself today just wrapped up in some nonsense, some trivial, some online gossipy type, just click off. Get you on an audio book, get you in a discussion room about positivity and solutions with some people who got some resources or some ideas. Like or just have a conversation, or just meditate, just be alone for a minute. You know what I mean? Like you don't always got to be wrapped up in everything, because then it leaves you spinning around. And while you there doing all that spinning and just talking to be talking, Amazon, according to CNN, has reportedly employed thousands of people to listen in through their Alexa technologies to your conversation. So all your aunts and uncles and people who was conspiracy theorists last year, you better write them a letter and say, I was wrong, you was right, I apologize for saying you was making too big of a deal out of some of these theories. Not only is Alexa listening when you speak to an Echo smart speaker, an Amazon employee is potentially listening too. Amazon employs a global team that transcribes the voice commands captured after the wake word is detected and feeds them back into the software to help improve Alexa's grasp of human speech so it can respond more efficiently in the future. Amazon reportedly employs thousands of full-time workers and contractors in several countries, including the United States, Costa Rica, and Romania, to listen to as many as 1,000 audio clips in shifts that last up to 9 hours. They listening in on the conversations. The audio clips they listened to were described as mundane, and even sometimes possibly criminal, including listening to a potential sexual assault. My question is, what do they do in response? Okay, well, it's been confirmed. It's been confirmed. I'm Aaron Smith, and since I know they listening, I might as well speak truth to power and live without fear while I'm here. Dedicate my energies and my life to the upliftment and the liberation of African people worldwide, be on independent black media, and go straight from there to the Department of Africology and African American Studies at Temple University under the great Dr. Molefe Kete Asante, and go straight from there to the Christian Church of Philadelphia under the leadership, guidance, and tutelage of Alexander Graham Houston, the pastor who knows he's black and knows he's a man, and then work with brothers like those in the Nation of Islam at Mosque number 12. Shouts out Brother Akbar, Brother Lamont, Brother Alfonso, and all the good sisters of the MGT, right? And all the queens, right? And just keep working. And then go to the Molefe Kete Asante Institute, on the other weekends and work with Dr. Amma Mazama and Molefe Kete Asante and all the good people in the community. I'm just going to dedicate my life to this and say, listen in anyway. Let the haters hate. Just make sure you shine your light and do it right. Stay bright. I'm Aaron Smith, she's Queen Kuwait, so whatever you're going through, WURD is here for you. Up next is The Source. Nope, it's our special presentation. The source of your inspiration, because you should be on your way to 52nd and Jefferson. Brown Shop Right. It's going to be all kind of free stuff. Face painting, eating. It's going to be a good time. If you weren't planning on going, change your plans right now and do something for yourself. This is self-care. You're going to see smiling faces. You're going to have a great time. Free food. I'm telling you, be in the building. 52nd and Jefferson, Brown Shop Right. It's going to be the pre-celebration. Jackie Robinson did a lot, y'all. Before Rosa Parks, he wasn't giving up his seat. Dedicating himself to military service before he ever, broke that color line, that barrier. We want to honor that brother, because that brother did a lot of reflecting, especially later in his life. We salute our greats. And we're going to start that pre-celebration in a matter of moments. Keep it locked. we're bringing the party straight to you while you're on your way down there to be with the family. You're waking up with work, y'all.